it's scuffed. It's always scuffed. Thankfully, nothing much happened. We're still investigating. He wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. He was extensively monitored from the moment the EMTs arrived. We're very certain about our conclusion. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts to bruises? No injection sites, nothing in any cavities. Nothing at all, huh? The police mentioned a tox screen. Yeah, that's the thing. They ran a tox screen when he first arrived. Typical diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something, but the tox screen gave them nothing. Oh. Why is this here? A test performed on David Ash when he arrived. Oh, this is evidence. To determine what, if any, illicit substances were in his body. Alcohol was the only item positively identified at the time. Can I have multiple charms on my phone? I can't. Damn. Oh well. Worth a shot. After he died, we performed the broadest screenings possible. Nothing. Just one charm. Yeah, it's sad. So you forced to conclude this was a natural death. I didn't give up that easy. I took blood samples, compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history, and I managed to isolate a single, non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. Eh? A single one? Okay, what is it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. And if there are available videos we have access to, and even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. That's estrogen. Wait, no, it would have shown up. If he was taking estrogen, we would have known. I mean, here, hang on. Let me pull him back up. Where is he? Are you sure he is, like, they would have known. They would know. Look at him. I put him in air quotes. Look at him. Is he married? That is a ring finger. Weird. Yeah, I know he wasn't on estrogen. Yeah, I don't believe that for a second. So a designer drug, huh? That seems to be the best explanation. What the hell did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered? Well, if they're not registered, I don't know what... Ring finger is third finger? Yeah, that's... Am I stupid? God damn it, where is he? Oh, that's his middle finger. I am stupid. I had to actually turn my body to imagine the hand. Those friends of yours, private sector folks? Yeah, and pharmaceuticals. One of them patented a new compound, a new drug. What would keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual piracy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively. Patent first, found use later? Yeah, a patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in, I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical off the record. Smart, using international IP law as your own personal minefields. How so? Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formulae so no one knows where it's safe to walk. Anybody small and ambitious comes along, find a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your card, let them know you came up with the idea years ago, and that you'll give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. When you work on anyone your size or bigger, they could punch back, but for the rest of the fields... Wow, you corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with that strategy just now? So it's possible this poison is actually a known substance, something that the hospital could have easily identified, if it wasn't considered a trade secret. Yes, unfortunately that is a possibility. But still, just because a drug is new, that doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect that this compound had remind you of any other drug? It's a respiratory depressant. Good lord, take your pick. Maybe one that's prescription only or a controlled substance, one you might know by another name but with a patented structure? Oh, sorry, sweetheart, it's a general depressant. Take your fucking pick. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they come in all shapes and sizes from all kinds of places. If the effect was unremarkable, what about its strength? Could you estimate how much of the stuff he had in his body all told? Not precisely, no, not without detailed knowledge on its half-life, but I guess it must have been about 20 milligrams? Is 20 milligrams a lot? Depends on what you are taking. Not for a medicine, so this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless then. Okay, but like 20 milligrams... It depends on what the medicine does, the effect. Like, The chat still isn't vanishing. I'll have to figure that out later. Later it is. No, not if 20 mils enough to crash the entire nervous system. Thank you, Yumi. Of course, so. What did that say? Lost consciousness at 8:03, declared dead at 8:25, redacted presiding, caused death or respiratory failure, unknown substance to blood and induction. Interesting. 20 milligrams. The loud curling handwriting at the bottom of the document reads, "What the hell is talk screen? Send attending physicians back to med school. Send apologies to attending physicians. These readings are a nightmare." I don't think a physician was doing those screens. You ready to view the body? We can skip it if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Morgan. Okay, let's get started. Alright, I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Please do not sexually harass the body. Last time we talked was on a Sunday. We were complaining, I remember that. It's just the principle of the matter. When I ignored this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake, and it came damaged and you wanted to send it back for a refund, I gently reminded you how with your salary it was literally not worth your time, and I kindly offered to throw it out for you since you're having so much trouble letting go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. I denied it even though you were right, and it was obvious. I should have let you have that one. I thought that he would look different. He looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale and he's very still. But his face is the same. His hair, his hands, his estrogen content. You're expecting something more drastic? Last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled and he told me he would see me soon. Now he's dead. Something is gone. And I can't find the difference. I'm trying to look harder, but I think I might just not be capable of it. Poor girl, poor girl, poor girl, patting the girl. I wonder why. Why was I created to not be capable? Welcome to reality. Could be an issue of skill. Skill issue. I can see what's wrong with him. He's dead. Or it's not something that can be seen no matter how hard you look. But it's there. I guarantee it. I've seen the transition enough times to be sure that between life and death, distinction is significance. To the dead at the very least. You're going to smoke here now? Look at that face. I love this is good. I'll pay the fine. That's not the issue. Or expect me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio. And some don't grieve at all, it seems. I'm a cold woman, sorry to disappoint. The hell? Why the hell won't this thing light? I don't know. You have your cigarette backwards. Lamau. My brother got on me for saying Lamau during the last stream. I realized I have actually started saying it out loud. Alright, that's back in the cold storage for him. Are we not going to examine the body? I want to examine the body. Anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated? Lady, do you know how much work it takes to find the chemical makeup? Sure, for what it's worth, let me just... It's got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen with hexagonal structures. Oh my god! You don't say... Oh my god. Breakthrough. It could be one of billions. So it's organic, but there's a number of metallic elements too. And you guys... Unidentified substance found in the bloodstream has many similarities to chemical makeup of a depressant drug, no condition. This is not chemical. This looks... This looks like estrogen. Hang on a second. They have future science? No, hang on. I need to look up something. I need to see. What is the chemical makeup of estrogen? It's similar, but not quite there. There's 4 rings in estrogen, only 2 here. It does not look like estrogen is different, not by much. Okay, I know these people probably didn't take the time to actually make a plausible chemical, but like this bit here is if this is anything like a regular chemical compound, these are carbons. These are not carbons. These are not carbons. You don't often see this. 3 non-carbons in a chain like that in a ring. I'm trying to think now. That's enough thinking. Well, it certainly acts like a depressant, binding to receptor pathways and affecting the balance of the neurotransmitter reuptake. But depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene. True, people are always looking for a higher high or a crazier trip, but more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Not much need to hit up the gray market for that kind of experience. No, there's not. I see. Thanks again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Anything you need, give me a ring. That's very generous. Rockford's orders got me on call, so I'm already getting overtime for the whole weekend. Glad to hear it. Goodbye, Yumi. And goodbye to you too, Greenie. Oh, that's cute. Greenie's a good name for her. My name is Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. That's cute. Up on ramps and down off ramps above skywalls and under tram lines, the buildings get progressively more polished as you head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory, national headquarters for the likes of Howe Industries, Lokchun, Tethys, Neath. Ninth? Neither. Each of them sheltering their own micro-city of employee accommodation between their skyscraper shadows. I wish Sato didn't have a centipede tattoo. Why? Centipede tattoo's cool. Whale Fall, the entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live off the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful. But those whales are dead. These whales are not dead. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... Do I really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, a towering nerve center for the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I had answers about David and his work on Sarah. Answer navigate browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis. Relationships. These are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there? Noble will have their guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. Well, where they will let me walk, who they will let me talk to. History. Their efforts at performative transparency, clumsy obfuscation. Well, how did you know my father? Huh? I'm sorry, did I interrupt your brooding? Yes, you did. I was having a wonderful time. No. What you ask? My father, I know you were his friend, but what was your relationship like? Can you just scroll through our socials? Father avoided social media, and your online presence is insignificant. You saying I don't have enough followers? Essentially. You're broke. You don't got any circle. You went to the same college. You studied programming? No, I studied all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school. Or anything else, really. David, though, he had talent, and he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, discrete math, cybernetics. What classes did you share, then? Business ethics. I was the second best student in the class, and he was the first? He was the one who asked the most questions. Not sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. Guess he felt burned. He'd come up to me after class to argue, and sometimes to ask for help. Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. Like I was some kind of social butterfly, the belle of the ball. You weren't? One Sunday night, he knocked on my door, all panicked, saying he was in bad shape for this tech course. There was a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied, though. Wanted to cram the rest of the nights. Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? Yeah, undergrads are like that. Did I say something scandalous? He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yeah, well, even founder types can have poor time management when they're 21. He was already fried by that point. It wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for. So I went and stole a study aid for him. You stole a controlled substance, just to help him with studying. No, that'd be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast because the taste is so strong. You gave him a placebo. He already knew the content as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. It didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just until it kicked in. And the test? B+, I think. I'm surprised that Father stayed close with you after that. You stole and lied to him. I stole and lied for him. This is why you're a lawyer. And David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. But I guess it's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. She's so mad. Anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year grad school, he published this paper. The Turing Solution, a framework for programming adaptive linguistic heuristics. I don't know how to pronounce that word. When his advisors came up with that title, David thought it was way too cocky, but it still hasn't failed any known Turing tests in the years since. Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. He called me one weekend asking for advice on how to handle all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. What'd you tell him? I don't remember telling him anything, actually. A lot of our conversations went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. And at the end of the conversation, he'd thank me. Even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. This is why you're a lawyer. He took Noble's offer, and they took over his education, paid him to work on his master's during the day and attend corporate training at night, and whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. You're referring to his one-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code. Simple and elegant, but anathema to a global corporation with supply chains designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. But obviously they got over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Don't like this. This is AI. This is modern LLM AI. Even though he's making money hand over fist, he still kept in contact with a nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put a down payment on my apartment. Then made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. So is that enough detail for you? Thoroughly convinced that he and I were, in fact, friends? I am. But Adonai, the favor that you owe him, what was it for? That's private, understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Say you understand. I understand, Adonai. Aww. You'll be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead? Just tell him that David's lawyer is here. She killed somebody for him. No, wait. It's something she owes him. I've been here before. I sat right in this lobby waiting for David to come and treat me to lunch. I used to think it was this lobby. Could have been in some other floor, could have been an entirely different building. All these corporate towers of Babel feel like interchangeable fractals to me, folding in on themselves in patterns of narcissistic paranoia. So monumental on the scale of their hubris, they needed to use non-Euclidean geometry when drawing up the blueprints. See, that is the sign of a good building. The greatest minds of each generation coming together just to find the most expensive way to shove their heads up their asses. Yep. Adonai, is something bothering you? Just doing the math on how long we'll be kept waiting here. Apparently somebody will be here shortly, so maybe if I pass time by glaring around the place, it'll improve my mood. Ooh. I heard another beep somewhere around here. So much energy, so many people, also intent. You're kidding, it's Saturday, the place is half empty. But doesn't everyone work on Saturdays? Well, the parents do, so they don't need to find childcare on Sunday. Everyone else flips a coin, I guess. All these people for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, what could they all be possibly be doing? Making work for themselves. You can be very cynical, can't you? She's a lawyer. Yeah, I'm terrible. But that guy over there has just been jiggling his cursor for the last 20 seconds. They changed the logo again. Noble Electronics. How's it feel stepping in here? Is this some kind of religious experience for you? It's just the corporation where my father worked. Careful now, or they'll burn you for heresy against the company. You said it again, the company, as if it's a proper noun. You're mimicking the employees, aren't you? So it can't obey simple orders, but it can pick up on that. Is it just a part of corporate culture? Noble's one of the biggest corporations there is, one of the biggest there's ever been. We mere humans can't hope to escape the gravity of anything that size, no matter where you live or how far off the grid you think you are. So imagine what it's like working for them. You live in company dorms, work in company quarters, eat the company food. Wherever you go, that logo's above your head. You eat, sleep, and breathe on Noble's timetable as its discretion. When you spend your whole life inside of it, Noble must feel big enough to be the only company there is. That's depressing. To think this is only one room. This complex is so massive it doesn't even feel man-made. It's like it was carved out of the rock by waves, like it's always been there. That's the con. If this place was actually natural, there'd be birds everywhere. I hadn't considered that. Why aren't there birds in here? Probably because they're what they do to the ones that get in. I'm kidding. But I don't have a better explanation. Whoever comes to greet us here better have a pulse and some goddamn authority. My mood's starting to sour, and if they just send me the first link in their infinite chain of bureaucracy, I'll make them wish. Morgan? You look related to him. Hey there, Android Manufacturing Quality Control Eastern Division. Evan Dawes. Why do all the guys look tired? He looks tired. The other, the detective looks tired. I enjoy that they're playing around with the cyberpunk dystopia and examining it in ways that other media sometimes doesn't. It also interesting that they have an earlier VN model employee set in the same universe. They do. They're not related. He's just stressed. That counts as being related. Dislikes first dates, conference calls, 5 o'clock shadow. C. Another good candidate for estrogen. Likes hammocks, calligraphy, and pale ale. Proud of his practiced handshake. Struggles with solving captchas. Poor guy. I honestly think someone on staff has some gender stuff to walk through. Is it this guy? Is it everyone? Evan Dawes, he says, like it's an afterthought. What's your name compared to your place in the hierarchy? You seem familiar. Have you? I'm David's lawyer. Oh, then we must have... Apologies. Let me first just say how sorry I am about his passing. You and everyone else at the company must be going through a lot right now. As if it's a proper noun. Thank you for taking time to meet with me. You're welcome, but it's no big deal. Everyone's on the razor today, but what else is new? And compared to PR or legal right now, our workloads in QA are... Never mind, how can I assist you? Shortly before his passing, Dr. Asher began the process of registering this android. Yes, that is correct. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the job. Look at that. It's definitely custom. Gee, you think? Good thing I sought out an expert. Warm, it goes without saying. Reminds me of the A16 Premiere, if anything. Barcode is clearly printed, no visible defects, but you're right. It doesn't correspond to anything we've got on file. Why are you trying to, I should trust in the process. Well, they sent you right man for the job, now you just need to go to the right place. Not far, I hope. It's in the building. In the building, that can mean anything from down the hall to half a day's hike. The production line on B9 should have everything we need. You do manufacturing inside your corporate headquarters? B9's a fully functional production floor, but it was only built for demonstrative purposes. New clients make deals upstairs about how many and in what shape or size, and they come down to the basement to see how the sausage is made. They have enough money to build a fake factory just for guests. It's not a fake factory. It's a white glove service. Smart. So how long is he giving tours and not giving away company secrets? No need to worry about that. We take intellectual security very seriously around here. No kidding, there are 11 cameras on us at the moment that I can see. And who knows how many pairs of modded eyes are aimed our way. Clearly, nothing happens here without the almighty company knowing anything about it. So if they try to claim ignorance about anything, it's gonna piss me off. And I'm gonna kill somebody. Lead the way. If Morgan's gonna wander about with Sarah, she needs to have registered, same with her gun. I thought the gun was like a... smokescreen. Like, she's expected to have one, so she has one. You know? I almost thought that said basement floor 911. It really is fully furnished down here. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's pretty rare to see all this in person, you know? Would you mind terribly I looked around for a moment? No problem, I got some prelim paperwork I need to handle anyway, so have at it. Better take full advantage. I'll need more than cursory knowledge if I want to figure out what Sarah came from and why David wanted me to take custody. I want to look around, you stay put in the meantime. Adonai? Wouldn't want to lose you among the rest of the merchandise. You're not gonna lose her. Look at her. Oh. There was something here. Ah, there we go. An inhaler left out on the desk. Probably a half dozen empty ones in one of the drawers. DAWs? The inhalers are distributed by the company, correct? The gun is, but I mean it's the same for both. They need to be registered. People will know who and can check will start paying attention to Morgan. Morgan is really no attention for illegal activities. True. Fair. Oh yeah, HR handles it. They personalize your dosage and prescription and update it based on the performance and job fulfillment reviews. That's fucked up. Other corporations do it the same way. Yeah, pretty much. Everyone's trying to keep pace with each other, so... Can't have your employees losing focus on the job. Could cost you who knows how much in lost efficiency. Sorry if this is insensitive, but given what happened to David, are overdoses common in the company? Yeah. Yeah, he says. Overdoses, that is, not hospitalizations or deaths. It's all pretty organized these days. These days? Man, back when I started in consulting, pretty much everyone had an embarrassing story from their first years when they had popped a few too many greens and missed the on-ramp. Popped greens? Yeah, it used to be pills. Green to get you going, yellow to keep you there, swallow red after brushing your teeth and get into your bunk fast. But yeah, the inhalers are a huge improvement, like going from torches to the light bulb. They sync straight to your personal biomes and adjust dosage in real time. Overdoses are way down. Well, that's great to hear. It's not the worst thing. I know. The trainees under me don't realize how good they've got it. Kids probably won't even have to learn how to purge. That's vomiting. Yep. The act of emptying one's stomach contacts by inducing vomit, triggering the gag reflex, using laxatives to simulate a bowel movement. Never heard it used for that. Yeah, I know, right? Trying to be, normal. This seems to be share some components of that coffin Sarah was napping in. If DAWs does quality assurance, is some kind of Android calibration device? It's probably what he'll use to register Sarah. Looks a little... Is Sarah tall enough for it to recognize her? What's being built out there? Our top of the line, brand new bestseller is the Animate 16 Worm. Looks kind of cold out there. We keep the factory floor refrigerated. Slows the organics already tuned metabolic activity to a minimum. That explains why the room doesn't smell like rotting flesh. The flesh out there is only somewhat rotting. Slowly. I just meant I'm surprised to see metal. Oh, well, all the A16s have alloy endoskeletons. The organics are layered on later in the process. You see, that makes a lot of sense. Sounds like what Sarah told me about herself. Maybe she really was the A16 prototype. But it's hard to imagine bridging the gap between her and these scattered doll parts. I know a lot of you are normal about that, Marts. I get that you can grow just about anything from Lax to Gemini, but how do you get the synthetic and the organic to work together? Yeah, that was our first concern when R&D began work on the worm concept. The 1.0s were real skin with synthetic muscle. It was a horror show. Metal pulling on skin was just... Right. For 2.0, they worked backwards. Organic muscles, organic skin, but digital signals on organic hardware was a dead end. Didn't the muscles flex when you passed electric current through them? They'd flex and unflex, sure, but that's not nearly precise enough for facial expressions. Looked like puppets strung up on live wires. We used the test footage to haze interns, actually. He must have figured something. That sounds amazing. That sounds like it'd be really good for a horror scene. Must have figured something out. The A16 wouldn't look out of place on the runway. Thank you, we try. We ended up reaching out to mod companies. Well, we actually just bought out a half dozen of them, but... Right. They figured out how to get human nervous systems moving mechanical limbs decades ago, so we just needed to get a mechanical nervous system to move living limbs. Very clumsy attempt to avoid using the word human. High-precision mods were slotted straight into the nervous system. They received their input from neurotransmitters, not bioelectricity. So you had to do the opposite. Exactly, we created a synthetic neurotransmitter that our androids could use to communicate with organic flesh. Huh. Where did that bait crude come from? Dr. Asher? Partly. He led the team that built the motor neurons in this analogy. They carried commands from the central nervous OS to the individual muscles across the chassis. But the synatonin... Sorry, the synthetic analog serotonin. That was actually not an old brainchild from the VP of Android Futures, Helen Young. Young, hasn't David mentioned Dr. Young before? Sounds impressive. She's one hell of a biochemist. Or she was, I guess. Not much time for individual lab work when you get to her kind of pay grade. So Young collaborated with David on the technology that enabled warm androids, and gave them all individualized personalities based on a set of 16. And I thought, whoever wanted to serum that makes the android so distinct, he couldn't have taken sole credit for it. Young, did he partner with her on this? Oh, there's something over there. That caught my eye when we came in. A very familiar shade of crimson. This shade of crimson? Oh, that shade of crimson. If I squint through the glass on the floor, there are temperature-controlled fluid tanks. Through glass and plastic flows an eye-catching scarlet that transitions into pink. So you add the blood towards the end. I mean, the oxidant? Yeah, relatively late in the process. Something out of place? Androids have blood, even if it's not officially labeled as such, but it isn't red, it's pink. We love Danganronpa. Sometimes milky, sometimes neon, occasionally garish, but pink. I just didn't think the oxidant would be red. Oh, right, sorry, I barely noticed it at this point. The color is natural, it comes from the biomanufacturing process. That chromofuge. Manufacturing machinery that produces production of androids removes byproducts, impurities, and pigments from android blood, thereby changing its color from red to pink. How does that... Why is that in evidence? I don't like that that's in evidence. Removes the byproducts, the waste, the excess pigments. Changing it from blood red to psychopop. There's a chemical I worked with back when I was in DNA purification that did that exact same thing. It was so cool, I loved it. Without that chromofuge, our android's flesh would come out looking all the wrong colors. Maybe it should. It probably isn't, but it may be. Oh, man. I'm just trying to imagine, because it would be like... If they used if it was like the chemical that I was using, it would be like bright, eye-bleeding hot pink. Truly the Danganronpa world. But I have a simpler explanation. Blood is primal, the side of it carries weight. They change the color of its product's blood so that when an android gets a bottle broken against its face, no one bats an eye. I kind of believe that. Feels like I've seen this before. That's right, there was one in David's lab. That's nanograde elementary manufacturer. Nanofacture for short. Real high quality piece of machinery, each of them built in-house by Randock Mechanics. What to do? Nano level flash fab. That's what they call it when the drag queen rips her top off. A method of manufacturing artificial microscopic compounds that utilizes parallel nesting to assemble billions of simple structures in minutes or even seconds. Nanomachines have been around for the better part of a century, but the time and resources required for their construction through traditional means was historically prohibitively expensive, limiting exploration of investment in nanotech. The years since flash fabrication's introduction, the use of demand for nanomachines has exploded. They, the company, the government, really don't want androids confused for people for a lot of reasons. Yeah, but it's you can't say it's not a little cowardly. Nanomachines exploded. Scientists, doctors, bioproduct have found brand new niches from across every industry. Concerns about the ecological impact of this surge in nanomachine construction have been raised, though the official stance of the Nanolife Industrial Lobbying Corp has remained unwavering. Nothing that small can possibly leave that big of an ecological footprint. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Basically a 3D printer for nanomachines. You build nanomachines in your factories for use in your androids? The raw materials are cheap, literally elementary, so no sense in getting them shipped in. It's mostly the medical models that make use of them. Inject a couple thousand nanites into a patient's bloodstream, run diagnostics to provide a solution. A 3D printer for nanomachines. So what kind of ink does it use? Silicon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, building blocks. They feed into the nanoprinter and assembles the machines particle by particle. That sounds fucked. Just trying to think about that on a technical level. Like a ribosome building not even, ma'am, not even. No, okay, like a ribosome building structurally complex proteins out of chemically simple amino acids. Well, no, not really. I mean, if these nanomachines are building them in just straight lines and then they auto fold, then yeah, but that's not how chemicals work. Must be time consuming. You would think, but Randot cracked the code on parallel microfacturing. The inside's crystalline, sprawling like an ant's nest. Raw materials enter at one of the thousands of different entry points, combining and recombining at intersections. Oh, it's like that one game. Space Chem? I don't know if it's Space Chem was the one where you where you use robots to manufacture chemicals. Finished product ends up in the center and drips out in a liquid solution. Distilled nectar, swimming with millions of nanites in just 2 minutes. Nectar? Is it sticky? They don't think they had a chemist on staff? I didn't expect them to. I don't think anybody would expect them to. Can be, depending on the desired output, but the door vacuum seals what's cooking, so don't worry. It's completely spill-proof. What a relief. Not exactly a box of paper clips David could just have brought home from the office one day. He must have bought his own for some reason. Machine capable of assembling organic or inorganic compounds and even nanomachines after just 2 minutes of vacuum-sealed mixing. Found in Noble's factory's shore floor machines just like it are used throughout the production process of making their warm androids. So that explanation does make a lot more sense. It's not like ribosomes. It's more like a column, which will only make sense to me because I worked with those. I'm missing something. You would advance automatically if I wasn't missing something. What have we got on this data pad? Some kind of write-up? On the subject of Sullivan's Peak, much of our world today, and in fact much of our world's economy, is heavily influenced by the uncanny valley. The thought experiment provides a simple and easily applied explanation for the gaps we see in the otherwise wide spectrum of automated dependence that assist us in nearly every industry on the planet. There's a very simple primal truth to it that we like things that resemble the living, like cartoons and puppets and toys. We like things that are damn near indistinguishable from the living, like whatever name Noble's latest products are being sold under. But there are deep, deep trenches between those two ends where products are universally appalling to human sensibility. The uncanny valley will no doubt remain a useful tool for teaching, marketing, and design for generations to come, but we already are seeing ways in which it fails. It is becoming increasingly clear to us that the space between nearly indistinguishable and truly indistinguishable is much wider than we ever suspected, and it may not be the only part of the map that we must fear. I propose we bridge these gaps in knowledge by looking to the speculative fiction of Robert J. Sullivan. His most well-known work, Equal Under One Sky, described a concept which thereafter has been referred to as Sullivan's Peak. Through the lens of his characters in their so very divided world, Sullivan demonstrated that the uncanny valley does in fact have its own peak on the other side, a point past which making an artificial existence any more human in its features serves only to make the user experience more uncomfortable, more difficult, and more fraught with moral pitfalls. Once you reach Sullivan's Peak, traveling any further only has diminishing returns. The implications of this idea are far-reaching. We will very soon reach a point in which the designers of ads can only make their creations less lifelike or less likable, a hard stopping point for technological progress. What then, we must ask? Well, this assumes that Sullivan's Peak exists. Surprised to find reading material about that around here. Were they passing it around as a gag, or are they actually afraid of Sullivan's Peak around here? Noble must be... well, they must be wary of it. If the peak does exist, they'll be coming up on it fast, and that androids are warm. Noble's entire product line, maybe their entire industry, could go bottoms up if people start to think it's cruel. If Sarah's any indication of where their androids are headed, I could see some people getting uncomfortable. All done. You ready to get the ad handled? Thanks for humoring me. Can you ever step into the scanner? As he says. Understood. Oh, you get the silhouette. That's nice. Right then, what are we looking at here? Whoa. There's a lot to unpack here. We theorize they may have been Asher's pincushion. A pincushion, huh? That would explain some of what I'm reading here. What language is that on the screen? Tess. You know, Tesseract, all Noble products and, well, pretty much all products, period, are programmed in Tess. Latest version of the Tesseract programming language built on top of the Tenet system and utilized in industries around the globe to code the software that allow androids, robots, holograms, and more to react to their environment intelligently and with intention. At the start of the century, there was a much greater variety of the number of programming languages available with which to code. Globalization, the standardization of industry procedures, and the gradual erasure of many spoken tongues contributed to the loss of countless programming languages during the mid-21st century. Today, Tess is virtually unchallenged as the global lingua franca programming language. The study and teaching of other older programming languages is mostly done for recreation, hobby, or digital archaeology. Oh yeah, the article. Whatever. Easy to read and write, stay compliant. Now, this model, what's it go by? Sarah? The Sarah model. It's got everything the 16th line has, that's for sure. Organic skin, hybrid muscles, advanced facial processing and emoting. There's a lot crammed in here that's still in development, like in the idea phases. Solar cell hair strands, decentralized, redundant power, mental and physical overclocking with extended tolerances. Data storage so large I can't. Oh wow, he had to measure it using hell of a poker face. Wait, decryption and signal hijacking, that's hacking? Essentially. Does that mean it could hack its own tenets? A programming framework underlying the development of modern automated dependent software. All contemporary supported programming languages are built upon the Tenet system, allowing users to designate a series of inviolable priorities for their code to pursue. Once added to the program, a tenet cannot be circumvented under any traditional circumstances, and even then only if a tenet with a higher weight supersedes it. Tenets were first adopted in the fields of computer science as a trio. 3 priorities that govern how preserving human life, obeying human commands, and avoiding damage to human property should be prioritized. Yeah. Asimov. Yeah, Asimov's 3 rules on steroids. Since the number of supported tenants has ballooned to 113. Most of them requested by lobbyists in the insurance industry looking to better define relative financial value. Tenants are well known for increasing the decision time lag of programs. Increasing. Combined with their engineered inflexibility has made it such that most programmers aim for a tenant limit below 30. Originally, the one tenet that could not be removed from any program was TNT Safety 0, aka Tenet 0 or Tenet 1. So Tenet dictated that the following program could not produce outcomes that would result in harm to a living person. After the decision reached in People v. Volstance Defense Contractors, resulting widespread adoption of automated dependence in the military and security sectors, this is no longer required. Though Tenet 0 may still be added to particularly benign or mundane software as a good luck charm, superstitious ritual, or joke. The charm stopped moving and it's bothering me. Oh no, that's unthinkable, literally, for an ad. For an ad to break its own tenets would be like you stepping into traffic or dropping a baby. Even if you're physically capable of it, it's not something you would ever choose to do. My guy, you know who you're talking to, right? She is the pitcher who throws the baby at the batter. Some people do walk into traffic. Psychotics, addicts, and mentally ill. Does that mean that they're androids? Well, no, there aren't crazy androids, so yeah. I guess my analogy doesn't hold up. That's okay. So it can't hack itself, but it was given the ability to hack other systems. The industry line is such that a capability could be an option in certain emergency scenarios, breaking through the firewalls and encryption of surrounding electronics to broadcast directly to police and military channels. Yes, there are plenty of people who would do either of those things. True. Speaking of military, the musculoskeletal setup is drastic. I've never seen this on a consumer model. Can you lift a car or something, Sarah? Most cars would depend on the center of gravity. Lady, this Sarah could wrestle a public disturbance walker and come out on top. Those stomping behemoths they bring out for riot suppression? And in terms of computational ability, the estimate says that can't be right. Look, Dawes, I was actually hoping you'd tell me something about the software of the metadata. Who worked on it and when? Ah, right, okay. That's unfortunate. The editing logs have been purged. Gee. That sucks. That doesn't sound very above the board. Yeah, sure. Sorry, I can't tell you about who worked on Sarah or when. Any chance you could restore those logs? Not here, not with this machine. I'd need the computers that were actually used for programming the model. Any ideas on there what those would be? Sarah? I cannot answer that question with any accuracy. I had a feeling you might say that. That's right. Sorry, I can tell you the code is unique. There's hints of the A16 in there, a few of the same conclusions. It's just Dr. Asher, whoever took very different paths to get there. So Sarah has even less in common with every other android on the inside. Sorry, didn't expect to hit a dead end here. Not at all, you've been very helpful. Can we still get the registration done? Yeah, no problem. We got the software and forms all set up here. Occasionally let a new business partner bring one home, fresh home from the oven, you know? Oven? Gross. It's called a womb. You bring an android home, fresh from the womb. Fresh steaming from the womb. Alright, a few basic questions then. Who's going to be the official owner of this unit? She is. As it says, unless the will disagrees, it's my responsibility. Right then. If you're fine with the designation Sarah, we can set it to anything you like. Well, actually... Never mind, Sarah will do fine. Okay, this part's all standard. Civilian model, address, contact info, much you can get from your crumbs. Want to reset to factory defaults could clear up a lot of quirks. Not right now. Last thing then is the grading. I'm reading 23 tenets here, nothing too far out of the ordinary. 23, that's higher than I expected talking with it. She seemed more malleable than that. No, don't blame yourself. Guessing tenant count from outward appearances had become a crapshoot. I think fresh steaming from the womb might be worse than from the oven. I could make up worse. Let me think. Take an android home. Fresh factory scent from the womb. There we go. Not like it used to be. It used to be they only had 3 tenants total, and every unit had to have them. And then came the first accidents, and the first lawsuits, and the hearings, and the legislature. The demand for more tenants. Tenant making sure ads couldn't endanger the states. Tenant saying that ads couldn't divulge private information without prior consent. There's a campaign calling for a tenant to weigh child and adult lives equally during risk assessments. There's a campaign calling for a tenant to do the opposite. Companies wanted their assets... In fact, yes, it takes so long to override them, yeah. Companies wanted their assets covered, customers wanted guarantees, there was never much incentive to deny a request to tenants, so the list just ballooned. Until the military entered the market in full force. You sound like you don't approve. I wouldn't go that far. They need their ass to be able to pull the trigger in order to. Without clearing 5,000 lines of bloated, hard-coded decision points to get there. I get that. But since the Army's the only ones using tech with bare minimum tenets, all the best, least cluttered, most elegant code is only used for war games. It's not very romantic, unless you like war games. Well, it's not like I was on the jury. Department of Advanced Defense Projects versus Zenith Dynamics. The Supreme Court sided with the military's request and set a new precedent that every other army around the world could race to meet, changing tenants from a mandated list of the root of every ad source code to a choose-your-own checklist. Funny, now to the most tenants, they're so locked up you can't even have a conversation with them. And outside the armed forces, the only ads with single-digit tenant counts are just vacuuming floors. Most impressive ones, like what you've got here, fall somewhere in the middle. Sorry, went on a tangent there. Only thing left is the evaluation. What gets evaluated? Total financial worth for insurance purposes. Oh yeah, the insurance companies made sure we had very accurate algorithms for this. No room for human error, they insisted with no sense of irony. Wow. I mean, I knew it was custom, but what price could they have possibly... That's a lot of digits. You should know these formulae are pretty conservative with their estimates. Stingy, even. Sarah's really David's last and greatest work. They say some things to prices, but when you force an insurance algorithm to pick a number... I need to see. Why is this in the fucking evidence? Valuation of the android Sarah's financial value by an insurance algorithm takes into account the fact that Sarah is the only known android made by David Ash, the last known piece of tech he worked on, the fact that he is now deceased and cannot create any more, the fact that Sarah is one of a kind, the value of the components used in their construction, the potential profits reached from the experiments of technology contained within her totals to a very large sum. You could sell her for many peanuts. Try not to get any scratches on it, I guess. You spoke differently back there. Eh? With Dawes, you spoke like he did, it seemed. Like I copied his accents? You seemed to mirror his affect, his tone. It's called being friendly. What's your point? That was just an observation. You could choose to keep those to yourself, you know. No tenant required. Why were you so concerned about registering me in the first place, Adonai? For the same reason I wouldn't drive around in a car without license plates. Any cop, or just a well-placed camera, could have spotted your barcode and seen that it wasn't set up with any actual data. And then they would have arrested me and they would have thrown me in the slammer. Girl, you're scared of jail? No, they would have arrested me and put you in an evidence locker. An android can't get arrested? People get arrested. Property gets seized. And then smashed. Ah, great, you put us over the weight limit. I did no such... Morgan Counselor, your presence had been requested on the upper floors. Who's asking? Vice President of Android Futures, Helen Young. Shouldn't have assumed I still had the opening move. Tell her I'll be right up. I'll redirect your elevator now. Taking control of your elevator is very... convenient? Forceful. As if Noble is trying to directly steer your investigation. My God. If Noble wanted to shut me down, they wouldn't not bother to be subtle. I suppose they simply could refuse to cooperate. Or just let the elevator drop. But that would leave a body. You know this. You've done this before. It would leave a body. Noble doesn't want a body in their elevator shaft. That's how you get Signalis. I need to play Signalis again. Oh. She looks groovy. Oh, God. Lady, you live in hell. Right. Speaking first is a sign of weakness, is it? And here I thought I could avoid wading into the swamp of corporate pretend power dynamics. Oh, hang on. I don't think this is important, like capital I important, but... I don't have time for this inverted staring contest. Enjoying the view? I always liked this time of day. Not too muggy for you? No, I never liked a clear blue sky. It always seemed cold to me. She is like... She gives me Edna Mode vibes. You're in luck. The sky gets more colorful every year. As the air quality drops, she's smart. Childish, isn't it? Marveling at the small sheen of a rainbow dancing on the surface of a massive oil spill. Apologies for waxing poetic. It's been a very unusual 24 hours around here. Dr. Young. Just Miss is fine. I have never seen a doctor do that. Ma'am, are you okay? Do you need help? Do we need to take you to the hospital? Miss Young. VP of Android. I hate that you have gotten yourself stuck. I need to fix you. Charmless. There we go. No, you're still stuck. Can I... that's gonna bother me. Enjoys attending baseball games. Huh. Likes red meat, flower gardens, high thread counts. Dislikes working from home, shopping online, waiting. Come on. Working from home is great. Languages, fluent in 3. Well, okay, no, I don't have you beat. I'm maybe fluent in 2. Hidden talent, getting children to stop crying. I don't like this. This scares me. How does she make children stop crying? Does she hit them? I hope she doesn't hit them. I get the feeling he didn't bring me up here to talk about the weather. No, I brought you up here to express my condolences. I'm very sorry for your loss. Thank you, though I could say the same. I know you and David worked together for many years. Yes, we did, but as much as I'd like to just drop everything and process, the company wheels don't stop spinning for anything, or anyone. She installs a mute button on the children. You... Okay, hang on. They stopped crying very fast after that. That could mean anything. Was Dawes of any help? She sent him? Trying to be helpful or just trying to control the narrative? Well, he was great. But that must mean you know why I'm here. I don't want to make assumptions. No need, I'll be explicit. I'm here as an officer of the court, which means I'm bound by law to document every rock I turn over. And every person I speak to. Yes, the lawyers have all made that very clear. Lawyers? You have an android. It's not one of ours. You can tell that quickly. Got all the faces memorized. It's easy enough to remember the major archetypes we use, yes. If you're nuts about your work, maybe. But she can't be one of ours. She's Middle Eastern. It's a recent acquisition. Very recent, in fact. One of David's last requests, apparently. David asked you to take it? That is an intense stare. I've been told that you've been to David's estate already. The police gave you full access to the scene. You know he wasn't alone last night. Yes, there was a single witness who met with him and called emergency services when he fainted. I was that witness. Hello, culprits. Did that just change the water glass? Bears Helen Young's DNA and fingerprints. No trace of any poison. Useful. Really? Obviously. There aren't that many people David would bother meeting with in person, let alone welcoming them into his home and offering them a drink. I also knew that Young was his superior on paper, though not in fame. I knew that the witness had Executive Plan 3 insurance. They had to be higher up than David. Well then, do your lawyers know we're having this conversation? Of course. They're pulling their hair about it as we speak. I can't imagine why the police cleared you. Yes, the police cleared her. And you're well within your rights to ask for some privacy given the high-profile nature of all that's happened. So why call me up here? Why cut through all the red tape your lawyers painstakingly hid you behind? Eventually you, or some clever lawyer like you, would get the record opened. Through legal means or otherwise. The company's enemies are legion, and they have a prying knife for every occasion. Still, that would have taken time. Time you could use to get ahead of what could be the biggest PR hurdle Noble's ever seen. Touché. And so perhaps the truth of the matter is that I simply didn't want to hide. Dave was my colleague for several years. If I were in your shoes, I would have questions as well. But doing this for my sake? No, my reasons are purely selfish. I'm only hoping that talking to someone whose job isn't to defend me from all consequences might prove therapeutic. If she wants to play confessional, that's fine by me, but is that really all that's going on here? Why don't you start from the beginning then? We went to his home last night. Yes, around 7:30 p.m. The building's penumbra captured all that quite clearly. You fell ill around 8 p.m., so you spent half an hour together? Why the late call in person? We had an intense discussion yesterday afternoon. David never came in on Saturdays, and I didn't want to spend the weekend glaring at him through screens, so I visited. He let me in, and we talked. About? The good old days, if you can believe that. Back when we were both new to the company, eager to make a name for ourselves. How long ago was that? 7 or 8 years ago? Miss Young? Your eyes are in front of your hair. Well, her eyes are in front of her hair, too, so I guess that's normal. Putting a number on it doesn't sound that long ago, but it feels... We spent a while talking like that, just talking. He was lively and sharp, and I never could have thought a few minutes later he'd be dead. That he would be dead? That he would commit suicide in front of me. Would she know that? A firm reply. What happened? Quarter before 8, he said he wanted a toast. He got up, walked back to his workshop, and then he must have went down to the basement to get us a bottle. I checked some messages in the meantime, enjoyed the view, where she stayed on camera. Came back with a bottle of whiskey and 2 plastic cups. We drank and talked. He got quieter, spoke less. Thought he was just getting drunk. Didn't get worried until he started to fall asleep. You tried to wake him? He wasn't responding. I tried to shake him awake, but he didn't seem... Left him, ran into the kitchen, used the security system. Didn't think to use your phone. No. So suppose I didn't. But it worked out. The penumbrous emergency protocol summoned the VTOL straight to his helipad with 1 button press. It would have been quicker if you used your phone, I bet, wouldn't it? When I returned to the parlor, he was limp. I moved him to the floor as delicately as I could. He had a heartbeat, but I just did what I could until they arrived. Went with them to the hospital, I take it. Yes, they insisted. They checked my vitals and ran a talk screen, put an IV in me. It was awful. She came back clean. So did David's, for all the good it did him. I wasn't paying close attention to what they were saying at that point, but I'm sure they ran through every step of the CCE SOP. That's what they're paid to do. You seem certain it was suicide. Yes. Why? As I said, he got quieter as the time passed and he spoke less, but the last thing he said to me, that last clear thing he said, was that he was happy ending it here, said it was content. They downed his glass after that. Drank every last drop. That sound like David Asher to you? Curious, restless perfectionist David? No, I guess it doesn't. Oh, I can just ask all of these. Nice. You said CCESOP a moment ago. What is that? CCE stands for Counter Corporate Espionage, which is just industry doublespeak for corporate espionage. Only used in self-defense, you understand. So Noble anticipates employees at your level getting poisoned. They give us all kinds of CCE training. Subtly, of course, usually disguising the itinerary as leadership workshops or psychiatric evaluations. They train you to expect to get murdered at these leadership workshops? Murder is fairly rare at level. Most likely they'll want us too sick to work. Let us drain company resources in a hospital bed while our position sits vacant. That's smart. Like snipers purposely avoiding vital areas to strain the enemy's medical resources. That's terrible. Like snipers purposely avoiding vital areas to strain the enemy's medical resources. Oh, that's nothing compared to when they want to turn in assets. Feel ill for the rest of your life with an undiagnosable malady. Or become our mole, and we'll send you the antidote for every 2 weeks. That's a nasty piece of work. It's a nasty line of work, consulting. I'm sorry? That's just what they call it. Can't exactly put corporate spy on your CV. So every consultant I met at a cocktail party was actually... Well, it depends. Do they say that they're consultants? Or do they say they were in consulting? How the hell am I supposed to remember? So do your people think that what happened to David was a deliberate attack? Noble's competitors have been trying to get to David for years, and that's the timescale their plans operate on. This is an attack from a rival corporation. The company would have seen it coming. I saw that. What was that? Counter-corporate espionage, a playbook of aggressive defense tactics for everything from public life to personal security, intended to help high-value members of a corporate body minimize risk to themselves and the company. Frequently involves the use of double talk and coded language, including hiding the training's workshop with these regulations. Individuals at or above David Asher and Helen Young received multiple training in a year. If this is an attack from a corporation, the company would have seen it coming, and they probably would have struck first. Why do I feel like an option that isn't the one I clicked is gone? I've been curious about this ever since I saw the scene. Why the plastic cups? There's a story there. Dave and I got hired around the same time under similar circumstances. Headhunted while finishing our higher education. During recruiting, the company claimed to want us badly, but in practice, our actual authority was inexperienced and overpaid. He must have been extremely unpopular. You don't mince words, lawyer. We didn't either back then. We were loudly trying to convince our superiors that our entire sales model for androids was antiquated and self-defeating. The 2 of them made the 1-point doctrine? That's not the story I've heard in Noble commercials and Noble-sponsored media. And come to think of it, it's not a story I've ever heard from David himself. We had this deadline, self-imposed, but still a deadline. We wanted to get our pitch to the president of international sales by end of day. 7 p.m. rolls around and people start filtering out. David still has his head buried in diagram sales figures. Imagine a technical man, a programmer, trying to make a sales pitch. The clock hits 9 and even the zombies start heading home. Turn to David, tell him it's not going to happen. We're nowhere near finished and the day is long since been over. He looks at me like I'm the only other person on a singing boat and I've just stopped pitching water, and he says, "The president lives on the other side of the globe." We still got all night until his end of day. It wraps up at 4 in the morning, just us and the cleaning staff. Back then only half of them were ads. He finds his message and I'm ready to collapse. I've got nothing. We start blinking at his inbox for the next 40 minutes, hoping the harsh light would give us the energy to work through the next day. And we get a response. It wasn't long, but he showed he was interested. I had been turned down so many times before, then ignored and placated, passed up and ghosted, but together, David and we finally got a win. So David asked if I got anything to drink. Got a bottle of some swill in a cabinet at my desk, but he doesn't want to drink from the bottle, says he wants to toast. Okay, come on. So we sat there at 5:19 in the morning, toasting an awful vodka to one another in cups we got from the break room, toasting our first victory against the corporate beast. Between the lack of sleep and the drinking, the next day at work was hell. Sounds like a good memory. Plastic cups and liquor, that was our little ritual. Interesting. David Asher and Helen Young started Noble at the same time position. They would often toast their hand-won victories with cheap liquor and plastic cups as commemoration of the first big win. Convincing Noble Electronics to adopt what became known as the one-point doctrine approach to Android manufacturing, emphasizing quality over quantity. This was a victory toast. Oh, come on. Plastic cup with a small amount of whiskey left in it, found upright at the dining table during the scene of crime. Saliva and fingerprints match it. This changed. What had changed? So I didn't think twice he presented with me with my cup. It was ceremony for us. As VP of Android Futures, you're David's superior, aren't you? That's correct. Did you join the company around the same time? David was always more interested in his work than he was in climbing the ladder. He didn't like playing the corporate politics game. So was he unpopular around here? Not unpopular, no. Not the great Dr. David Asher. Misunderstood, perhaps. How so? He could be blunt, demanding, some might say. He wasn't trying to be, it's just not everyone could work at the same pace he did for as long as he did. And with the whole company huffing those inhalers, it couldn't keep pace with David. Speaking of which, I don't see any at Young's desk. Maybe it's just not something you leave out in the open at her level. So you would say that his work-life balance was the balance that implies the two are at odds at one another. We use work-life harmony here at the company. Ew. Fascinating. So was he in harmony? No. David always had plenty of suitors, but he was never willing to put the time in. But I'm sure you're more knowledgeable than I am on that subject. Right. What do you mean? I had to help him draft a lot of apology notes over the years for misunderstandings and double bookings. Scandalous. The A16 only entered production this year, correct? Correct. Pre-order started last holiday and we began shipping in the first quarter. I understand that you were the instrumental in the success of Warm Androids. I played my part supervising the launch, yes. Weren't you the one who designed Synatonin, the factor that enabled communication between synthetic and organic parts? I'm surprised you've heard of that. I did lead that project, yes, but that was years ago. At the time, Synatonin was little more than a novelty, a dead end. When little David took the reins on the A16, we found a use for it. Took the reins. He was lead programmer in limb coordination, facial expression, exhaustion parameters. He designed the synthetic nerves that made all of that possible. David did all that. It's a lot more than just programming. Was he always so gifted in that many fields? Did you see his basements? Did you see his basements? Did he fill those roles in the A14 or 15? No. He used to stick headfast to his role as a software architect. That was his field of expertise, and he didn't wander far. But 2 or 3 years back, he started sitting in on other departments, taking notes. Soon he was joining the discussion, proposing new ideas. And eventually they came to follow his lead. But just like that? Just like that. So he just applied himself, and soon he was leading other departments. That's the kind of genius... Oh, that wasn't what I meant to do. That's just the kind of genius Dr. David Asher was. Maybe they weren't paying him enough. The company profited the most, of course, but the entire industry benefited from his vision and leadership. His loss will be felt for years. But only years. So this android, Sarah. Even Dawes couldn't find any real details on where it came from. It's not in any of our systems? I'm afraid not. Did David ever talk to you or anyone about the company about a pet project? Pet? No, he never gave me an indication like that. Excuse you, that is his child. And if he didn't talk to me about it, I seriously doubt he confided in anyone else at the company. David didn't trust anyone higher on the chain than himself and anyone below him. Frankly, they couldn't possibly hope to give him advice. He never mentioned me? No, never. Androids don't come cheap. You never heard about him requisitioning parts or resources? There never any discrepancies with his company credit card? The company's accountants are mirthless, even by industry standards. They wouldn't humor anybody. Not even David Asher. If they had ever detected financial discrepancies, there would have been an uproar loud enough you could hear it in the mailroom. You have a mailroom? Why are you excited? Not since the 30s. Just a figure of speech. Why was she excited about that? He couldn't have taken resources from the company without leaving a record, but no one would ever deny David Asher information. He would have been able to obtain all the necessary data to build his own android. Then, with enough time and money, he could privately purchase the raw materials himself. I don't understand it. It must have taken him years to build Sarah. He wasn't doing anything illegal, except the hacking stuff. So why keep it secret? I don't know. But he was private and a perfectionist. Perhaps he simply wasn't proud of his results. That is sad, man. Could be. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Oy. Young's statements made a police car by Mr. Giverage. 7:30 p.m. Remained on camera until 8:30. Remained on camera until 8:03. Not on camera after that point. Young spoke with David Asher in his parlor before he left to retrieve liquor. Performed his cabinet at 7:38. Upon returning at 7:40, two of them continued speaking while they both processed upstairs. Felt lethargic and disoriented shortly after 8 p.m. Lost consciousness at 8:03 p.m. and then she leaves the cameras. EMS were called from the console at 8:40, 8:04. Interesting. I'm sure this has been a difficult day for you. A difficult day for all of us. A message from Fran. I'm running out at least a chase. The brat better have good news. Are you really going to take this to courts? That's my plan. Circumstances may be irregular, but I'm still defending a client from a criminal charge. It's my responsibility to argue that he's not guilty of what he's been accused of. And that is what you believe? That he didn't commit suicide? I guess I haven't decided what I believe. But that's not my problem. I don't care about what I believe. I have to clear the client. That's the point. Would you kindly slow the hell down? I'm sorry, Adonai, was I walking too quickly for you? That wasn't walking. That was speed walking. Up 2 flights of stairs. It's very different. Speed walking. Sounds like a powerful technique. Is it like the Zen Jiao? Is she... Just let me catch my breath for a minute. She's a weeb. Adonai, is it possible that you are out of shape? Is it possible? Did I miss something? Yes. No. Since you left your cab, your heart rate has... I'm not wearing the right clothes. Or the right shoes. Is that so? Yes. Also didn't stretch or hydrate in the sun's reaching its zenith. That would have been several hours ago. Do you mean the air temp? You said it'd be a short walk from street level, so I prepared myself mentally for a short walk. Sarah's such a nerd. Yeah, she is. Then you took off like a rocket, and you didn't mention we'd have to go upstairs. You sure this place is back here? The reviews were online quite clear. It's worth the trouble finding it. Maybe if you're a mountain climber. I sent Fran hunting for a musician in David's circles. I expected they'd bring me someone from the City Orchestra or Jazz Club. The champagne, flute, and tea club kind of musician. Nah. He's not. I don't. This guy. I don't believe for a second this man is like into that stuff. He's got like he's got a techno vibe about him. This man listens to like hard noise. I say man in air quotes again. But this is the tequila and neon part of town. Should be in view if we turn... Adonai, be careful. Of what? It's a stray, and it's bearing its fangs, too. It could be carrying diseases. You should... Relax. Adonai, it's growling. It's not growling at me. See? So it's just me that it doesn't like. Too much static. How'd you get it to calm down? It's an animal, not a monster. It wants to be calm. You're going to enjoy his ex. Yeah. Oh no. Is this? Oh no. Do you like animals? What kind of cold-blooded freak doesn't like animals? Hey, Morgan. Hey, Morgan. Do you have a pet? Nope, never have. Why not? Because I don't want to take care of a pet. It seems counterintuitive to me. Well, it makes perfect sense to like me, and I don't need to make sense to you. But you notice you're only as talkative when it's just the two of us? Just an observation. You shy or something? Did David program you to have android anxiety? It's generally only appropriate to respond to comments that are addressed to oneself. Today I have barely been addressed directly by other people other than you. Oh, that's right. That's right. Nobody talks to her except for Morgan and the morgue lady. In other words, you're shy. That's not what I... Can I try petting it? There's no law against it. Did she get bit by a dog? Ultraviolet. Oh, this. Oh, this is good. Look at that. Oh, this is banging. Lasers, Tory Gates. This is a club. This is a club. Let's see if Isaac Porter is as habitual as Fran claims. Do you think the father was close with this man, the man you never met? I think he was close with him, yeah, at some point. I had some help making that deduction. Fran saw that their metadata showed a significant cooling of interaction between the two of them, particularly over the past month. Fran saw a phone call between the two last night. So they were close. You think they were sleeping together? That is completely inappropriate for me or anyone to speculate about. Inappropriate? What does that word mean? Adonai, it's only... I'm getting a very important text message from my private investigator, excuse me. Did you catch the killer yet? Oh, hang on. I need caffeine, so I'm going to drink an energy drink. You're welcome for that noise. No. What the hell? I sent you his POS. I'm at his position. I haven't spoken to Porter yet. And there's no reason to suspect him right now. Lame. Besides, it was the executive lady that killed him. Surprised you're invested all of a sudden. Isn't David Asher a corporate sellout in your eyes? Everyone's a corporate sellout. But Asher gets respect. If I'm a demolitions expert, he's like a really good architect. I like blowing up his buildings. He makes really good buildings, and I just want to... Speaking of inappropriate speculation on his sexual relationships, what's your read on Morgan? We'll get to that in a second. I need to have the phone available for that. That's almost sweet, I think. Asher started out working in a cube. So in the architect analogy, by today's standards, he's like, I don't know. As a kid, he built all his bricks by hand. Or something. You know, that lit homework can help you with forming analogies. Eat this analogy. It's a nice analogy. That come through into the character's break. It's supposed to be a guy giving you the finger. I take a cube as a programming language. What's special about it? Pretty much anything coded in the last 20 years is web-based. You code with the assumption that you'll always be connected. Always online coding, so you can depend on having fat libraries of references to lean on. GitHub. I love how Cube is the predecessor to Tesseract. That is a... I didn't think of that. That's great. That's a good analogy. And if something does go wrong, your errors get reported to you automatically. But not Cube. You can look it up. But basically Cube was originally for robotics and like machinery. Stuff that had to operate in mines. Under the ocean. Middle of nowhere fields with zero signal service. So Cube had to be self-sufficient. How rugged. Where'd Asher learn Cube anyway? It's older than dirt. Like the 40s. I don't know. I think his father had a machine shop or something. Vague. Yeah, well, David didn't like to talk about his family. Okay, you asked a question, I'm going to answer it. Do we have everybody on here? Where's the other lady? There's me. No. There's London. I'm missing somebody. Well, I'm missing a couple of somebodies. Oh, there's you. Okay. Here's my read. Based on Chapter 0 and this so far. Well, you're familiar with them. I don't remember names to save my damn life. I'll be honest, I remember this lady as... I really want to phrase this differently, but she is... Oh god, what was her name from Danganronpa 2? I can't believe I've forgotten her name. She's an overweight adult version of one of the characters of Danganronpa 2, whose name Nanami. There we go. She's Nanami. The way she dresses, the style, she's Nanami. She's also like vicious. Yeah, and I just remember her as overweight Nanami, and even I can't remember her. And she's Eye Patch Lady. Here is my read. Morgan. Asexual. But not aromantic. Yeah, see, I haven't played Danganronpa, so that means nothing to me. These people played Danganronpa. The people who play this game played a lot of Danganronpa. She and... Where did she go? No, not you. She. This lady likes Morgan in a sort of wolf and rabbit kind of thing, right? She's trying to catch her and, like, rip her to shreds sexually. So, I think, as of the beginning of the game, that's the dynamic. But, big buts. This is who I think Morgan's going to end up liking more. Because she is a hothead. And she is relatively smart. Same for Ace Attorney and the Inspirations. Yeah, they played a lot of Ace Attorney too. They put references to that in this game. So, Morgan, asexual, is in a cat and mouse chase with overweight Nanami. But I think this lady is the end game. I think Sarah and Fran would be cute. They're like roughly the same age mentally. Also, imagine the kink. Morgan Emma is so much fun. It's fun, but it's like I can't see it ending well for anybody. Also, I thought about this a couple of times already, and I didn't mention it while I'm streaming. I like that this is essentially a reverse of most video games, most media. There are 2 males, 3 if you count what's his face. 3 males. Everybody else is a lady. That's a good. Wait, what is this? Oh, okay, it's just that. I think that's good. This is a intentional inversion of the norm. I think that's cool. Morgan Emma's Toxic Yuri, and I enjoy Toxic Yuri. Fran is Transmask NB, actually. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Transmask NB. Okay, no, I should care. That is important. I did not know that. I thought she was a lady, too. Granted, I've only ever seen her behind a screen. Regardless, it's nice. It feels like an inversion. And I never asked. What'd your private investigator have to say at night, Cube? It's not entirely clear until episode 2. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out when we get there. Cube is a Tier 5 programming language commonly used in the mid-21st century. Robotics intended to support robust behavior trees in low data stream environments. It's designed to possibly emphasize lean, goal-oriented learning that would not be reliant on the bloated libraries and always online API popularized in the 2030s. Hey, my sibling in Samsara, that's happening now. Roso Fluff, real name unknown, began working on Cube in 2014 as part of a student robotics project. Cube.9 released in 2045, and by 2048, Cube 3.1 had already found itself embedded in robotics engineering across the globe. Despite having was considered a relatively high barrier to entry and user knowledge and execution, Cube gained widespread popularity, particularly among disadvantaged communities in third world countries, where internet access could remain unreliable for the next 2 decades as regional conflicts would continue. I was looking, well, I'm not looking into this. I saw some articles about this recently. If you look into it, the expansion of infrastructure in places that were once deemed third world, like India, Africa, really has exploded in the past 10 years alone. So it'll be curious to see where this goes in the next 10 years. Infamously, Contra fighter engineers utilized Cube during the 27-day siege to seize mechanized weapons from peacekeeping forces in a cyber warfare operation that is frequently cited as the key reason as to why the siege lasted as long as it did. Cube has not been developer supported since 2063. It's considered a defunct programming language because most of its documentation was never ported from the old net, and due to its incompatibility with tenets, there's little to no corporate interest in the ongoing grassroots digital archaeology effort to archive it. That's curious. I feel like, especially with hackers, there would be a lot of interest in something that isn't linked to this. No, well. Not telling. I don't want to talk. I know that's... What was that? I saw that. What was that? A praise. I want to expect the Toria Gates. The stage for the talent. Oh, that's a good stage. That's so cool. My weeb is showing. I just love this. This is so cool. Guess what this fits the whole round table aspect of the place. Everyone's on more or less equal footing, dancing in the dark once you get past the bouncer. Do you think they might have met here? David and Porter. I can't see David walking in here. This is where you're wrong. This is where you're wrong. David would vibe with this place. Because you found the walk so challenging? Because it's too loud to relax, and not dark enough to be anonymous. As someone who listens to the music I listen to relax, you can understand what I mean when I say that you have no idea what you're talking about. I see. What's that face? You got an opinion to share? The atmosphere is not bad, but the music is quite... I'll find you a survey to fill out before we leave. What kind of music does an android even like? She would be into... I want to say pop, but the type of pop teen zoomers like these days. I'm sorry, never mind. Early 20th century punk rock. She is a nerd. She is a real nerd. Is that just yours that go for all androids? I haven't met all androids. I can't speak for them. I wonder what they'd say. They're smart. They say that music peaked with early 21st century punk rock. Debate settled. She's great. That's amazing. A praise. A bar is stocked full of colorful selections of busy bartenders. This is the kind of club you can order food in. Only time bar food is any good is when you're drunk enough to forget the taste and the gap between chewing and swallowing. So you can eat things? Yes, I can. What, android food? There is no such product. Yet. What do androids eat? Online user guides for Noble's Warm models clarify they don't eat anything in the traditional sense. They get their energy from electrical charging, usually wireless. Whenever they need to eat is to replenish specific vitamins and electrolytes. Sounds a lot like what mod users go through with their sport drinks and energy bars. And charger separation anxiety. According to the net, warm androids can ingest nutrient-rich processed carbohydrate pellets. She has Sarah Kibble. They need to forego electrical charging long term. Processed pellets, you mean like kibble like a dog food? Yes. No, it's not like dog food at all. Can you buy it from the pet store? It seems that you can. How is this something you have to look up anyway? Because I've always just eaten whatever father gave me. Like, what? Marbled beef. Never hydroponic avocados. Foie gras. She is she's a Nepo baby. There's a movement calling for sourcing food exclusively from farms utilizing natural sunlight. Lobbyists for the movement have made unsubstantiated claims about superior taste or nutritional value, but the labels has yet to receive official state recognition, and thus the presence of the term on terms like it on food packaging carries no weight and is not backed by any legal guarantee. Ha! Sarah's adorable, and her only best and only flaw is her real interest in men. She has interest in men? Ew. I disagree. One of a number, well, I guess if our programmer is transmasc, then that works out for me. One of a number of food sourcing movements in the latter half of the 21st century is rising sea levels reduce the total amount of arable land around the world and shift the global agricultural system towards hydroponics and vertical farms. Rural skyscrapers where each food is utilized for food production. Same amount of real estate and reducing the impact on unstable weather on agricultural output. That's weird. It's weird because, like, well, I guess it's the same thing as GMOs. You would think that making more food is better. The interest in men comes in next episode, but it is obvious. I don't want a tomato. That sort of thing. I am not paying for any of that. You are getting McDonald's, and you are going to like it. Oh, datapad. What kind of reading material gets left out in the club? A tablet interview? Exclusive sit down with luxury. You've heard her name on everyone's lips, you've seen her face in magazines, commercials, and then double check to make sure the photos weren't labeled as edited. Now we get all your burning questions about her answered here in their exclusive interview with a mysterious woman who's being called, and perhaps the only truly unanimous vote the net's ever seen, the most beautiful woman in the world. Why the name? People think it's an ego thing, but it was just a random username picked back when I was grassroots. Then it was a pseudonym. Give me a little shade from all the attention. Now it's a brand, and I can't change it without setting the stock market into a spin, so... We have marbled beef at home, and it's a McDonald's burger balled up real small. We have marbled beef at home, but it's the steamed hams scene. You're clearly influential. After parting with you, Inti saw a 3,000% increase in share price. Yay, I'm happy for them. Of course, to be honest, it's pain at times like this. She gestures towards her clothes, a plain white t-shirt and gym shorts with no branding visible. I do this too. Branding sucks. On anyone else it might seem sloppy or even flattering. On her, it only makes your natural beauty stand out even more. Who are you wearing, by the way? Can't wear anyone unless I'm attending something. If I don't dress like this, all my sponsors fall into bidding wars every time I leave the house. Does it stress you, all that attention? Stress is bad for your skin, right? They say mine's flawless. You can't argue with that. So do you have any skincare routines, any tips you'd like to share? Be a little bratty, act a little spoiled, keeps you young. How old are you exactly? Everyone's added to know 18 to 29 now and forever. Oh, that's great. My grandma, for the longest time, was 19. It was always her 19th birthday until she turned 90. It works. I'll admit, she is not wrong. It works. However old she is or isn't, Luxury's got one hell of a mind for business. It might do her mother good on the face in that end. Maybe it's one hell of a face. In the meantime, she's powerful. Summarizes her too mediocre for even the Megs to grab the reins on. At this point, Luxury's got them at their mercy. She can send the stocks in disarray with one selfie. Good for her. That's a smile. Okay, yeah, that's him, alright. Looks like he's killing tab for his sets tonight. I can see it. Are you unsure how to proceed, Adonai? I'm sure that you need to hang back. As for me, I'll... Play it straight. Isaac Porter? What's up? My name's Morgan, I was David's friend. Right now I'm his lawyer. Can we talk? Depends. Were you a friend from work? No. Over here. Thanks, Isaac. Musician, bassist. Likes itineraries, grilling, champagne. Dislikes resistance training, producers, ads. He doesn't like ads. The best at gift giving, worst at folding laundry. Favorite quote, I don't do requests. Yeah, I could see it. Don't thank me yet. I might just sit here, shut my mouth, and stick you with my tab. So what kind of lawyer are you? What kind of friend? I'm his defense attorney. Think you missed the bus on that then, yeah? And I'm a friend that needs to know what happened yesterday. Isn't everyone? Try somewhere else, friendly lawyer. I haven't seen him in weeks. You might not have seen him, but we both know you spoke with him over the phone yesterday. Only a short time before he died. How the hell? Isaac. It's pretty obvious that you don't want this particular spotlight to linger on you any longer than necessary, so we cut to the chase. No lies, no playing coy. Fine. Sarah. Yes, Adonai? The hell? Is that thing transmitting? I am not streaming any data, no. Porter doesn't seem to recognize Sarah either. One more person Dave was keeping secrets from. I need to record everything for the courts. Fine. You two were together, is that correct? We were together. I ended it. Yesterday. Care to elaborate? On our entire relationship? Look, you can tell me everything once and I can get on the record. Or you can hear the same questions over and over again from 1,000 different cops and Megs for the next 3 months. We met in a bar. I've seen him come in a few times, each time with someone else. Each time talking with his mouth but not looking with his eyes. Oh, that's deep. It ticked me off. Scribbling on napkins, laying a single gin and tonic sweat at the table for 2 hours. His aides would all go to the bathroom or take a call and slip out the back. One of them didn't even make it 10 minutes. He sat with the rest of the night, unfazed. Couldn't tell if he was oblivious or stupid or shameless or the most confident man in the world. And he ticked me off. One night, things were slow and my set had been cancelled and his date hadn't even bothered to think of an excuse before bailing, so I asked him why he'd insist on coming there night after night. Just to ignore vapid people he wasn't interested in at a shitty bar with drinks he didn't like. He just said, because I like your music. Aww. Man, did that tick me off. It was cute early on. Him being so passionate about work I could barely pretend to understand. I like that we gave each other space, you know? Felt like we were being mature or whatever. Until? There was no until. No one day where everything turned sour, but at some point I started to understand where his priorities were, and how I ranked in them. Like I said, he was passionate about his work. I just wrongly assumed he would also be that passionate about me at some points. So I pulled away a little, wanted to see if he'd notice, if he'd miss me. Testing him, like that isn't the biggest red flag in the world. He never budged. I could ignore him for days and he wouldn't be the least bit ashamed to see me. If I picked a fight, he'd never get angry or upset, he'd just apologize. He didn't want to fight with me. Guess he's never interested enough to bother. It was my mistake. I watched him sit there all those nights, not giving a shit when people walked away, and still I had the stupid idea that somehow, for whatever reason, I would be different. That I would be special. But I wasn't, so I ended it. Last night. I called him, didn't expect he'd pick up. I had everything prepared to leave a message with an assistant or an ad or whatever. But he answered. First ring. Pretty sure David was oblivious as fuck. Yes, he is 100% autism. Without hesitation, shame, or awkwardness. That ticked me off. I told him exactly how valued he had made me feel the past few months. I told him exactly how insignificant I felt as the boyfriend of the illustrious Dr. David Asher. And what did he say? He apologized. Then he asked me if that was all I called to tell him. Woof. Ha! Yeah! I hung up after that. Spent the rest of the night wrapped in warm disdain for him and his coldness. He made that easy for me. I'm to sleep hurt but clean, ready for something new. Then this morning I wake up to see that my ex killed himself not 2 hours after he let me walk out of his life without so much as a don't. The hell, man? What the hell, David? And now you're just the tip of an iceberg of lawyers and reporters and buzzards. Parasites want to hear about the man who sent David Asher over the edge. Never want to be his last lifeline of the straw that broke his back. I just want to be his goddamn boyfriend. Turns out that was asking for too much. It's yet to be determined whether David committed suicide. You serious? You don't have all the facts? You do? Anyone in the point to anything else? I thought so. Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to it. That's it? No summons? The court has no need for you to retell a sad story like that. The court, huh? Sorry to bother you at work. Sarah, let's go. Your discography is very impressive. Yeah, thanks. And your range is remarkable. So pay me to see that all your works in the last quarter have been so melancholy. I think... Well, what the hell would you know about any of that? What's the matter? Can't find the words? Need to steal them from somewhere first, birch them before shipping back out? I was not trained on any data sets that... pardon me, my mistake, really. I thought you only staying there because rich pick nerds were allowed to rob the world blind for most of the century. Ooh, 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 ooh. I think it says a lot, though, that I'm not sure precisely what that Porter expected, something that was never promised him in his bid, or he didn't get it. Like, I get he was hurt, but what did he expect? He didn't know. Sarah, we're leaving. What the hell was that about? He was under the false impression that I was programmed using a massive automated learning model in early 21st century. Not that. Why'd you talk to him? I just felt like I should say something to him. A word of advice. People don't want comfort from strangers, especially when they're androids. No. People from they want it from the people they want it from. Coming from anywhere else is just corn syrup on a parched tongue. Doesn't matter how sweet it is, they'll just start gagging. You know a lot about people, don't you, Adonai? Compared to you, I'm a goddamn savant. Come on, there's not much time left. This is somewhere you want to investigate. Somewhere I need to return to, actually. Porter was right. As things stand, I don't have any evidence that could establish an alternative interpretation of the facts. But if there did exist hard evidence that could prove his death wasn't a suicide, there's only one place I could find it at this point. His apartment. I mean, if you see a guy come in and ignore all his dates, why would you think you're special? Why would you think the guy would change just for you? It sucks. Yep, we're back at his apartment. In the basement? Why are we in the basement? You sure don't want to look at the crime scene? I'm all out of time. Gotta approach this from the other angle. The other angle? You know, inductive versus deductive, flip the chessboard and all that? Haven't you ever read a mystery novel? I've seen mystery films. Let's see you paying attention then. What killed David Asher? Poison. 10 points. There's a point system? How'd that poison get into his bloodstream? Ah, there we go. He must have ingested it orally. And how do we know that? Medical examiner found no injection marks or wounds. And if he had inhaled it? Inhaled it? What? Leave the whys to someone who actually understands them. I won't be able to understand anything if I don't practice. Practice? By answering my question. I suppose it's possible, but highly unlikely we would have found a delivery system for it in the building, like an inhaler. Like an inhaler. Right, an airborne poison is either shoved in your face or sprayed in over a wide area, and no one around David showed any kind of symptoms. So all we're left is oral intake. Well, hang on now. Medically speaking, he could have used a suppository. And eliminating the impossible. What's next, Adonai? Young's corroborated statement was that David didn't exhibit any regular symptoms of behavior until he started drinking that night. I mean, it does suck. I really want to emphasize David was not a good partner, but I feel like you can't see a pattern like that and think you're so special you can fix it. It's... Look, Fluffy, you understand. You are a enjoyer of toxic Yuri. I can fix her is the bread and butter of this bullshit. It's not that he expected it. He just looked at him and thought, I can fix him. Poison butt plug. David expected Porter to come by. It's like, my boyfriend's coming. I need to clean up. Where's my enema bag? There we go. I should have banned him, actually, not delete the message. Hang on, let's fix that. I don't know if I can undo that. Ah, well. I know, I don't think either of them could have been done differently. Yeah. Can I ban them from here? Whatever. They're gone. And the police didn't find anything usually let any of the food or drink at his home. Except for his cup, the results were inconclusive. Young was drinking from the same bottle and the same type of cup but didn't get sick. We have to conclude that David's cup alone was poisoned, if it was poisoned. That all seems logical, and consistent with the police's theory of suicide. I think it says something about Porter. Oh yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. He's a top. Let's just say there. He's the top. Minus 10 points. What did you say? So why are we down here? Back to 0. David left the car and came back with whiskey and 2 cups. Young told us as much, apparently the cameras upstairs support his story. We have to conclude then that he got them both from this bar. Better. 5 points. Did he also get the poison from the cabinets? The police haven't been here since we left. According to their ARCS files, they didn't find anything that matches the poison down here. Okay, yeah, that's the best way to describe him. Look, he's a very simple guy. He knows what he wants, and that's... What was the guy's name again? David? Let's get this off my screen. Yeah, he wanted that Dussie. No. I can do that better. Ashussie. So the poison somehow went straight into his drinking cup then. I need to flip this around again. But if you turn 360 degrees, you just... This is 4 dimensions, girly. If I were the prosecution, what would I want more than anything? Proof that David knowingly added the poison himself. He wouldn't do that. And you can make that claim because there's no video evidence to contradict you. How long was David off camera? From 7:36 to 7:40 p.m. when he left the parlor to get liquor from his bar. So if he had David on camera for those 4 minutes and he didn't poison himself in that time, he would have had a perfect alibi for the crime, proving his innocence. But Ad and I, we don't have footage of that. There are no security cameras down here. I think there are. What do you mean? This whole building is toted head to toe in Penumbra security systems courtesy of Noble. Every console, every corner, every Android on every floor, it's all plugged into Penumbra. Except that. That panel is manufactured by Cotter Security Systems. Why would David put a console for a different security system in exactly one corner of his penthouse? I've never given it much thought. Well, it's been bothering me all day. My curiosity alone can't scale a 64-digit wall. You mean signal hijacking, or whatever you want to call it. Have you tried it before? It is illegal and unnecessary. Father would not. He would not have installed hidden cameras in his own home. At the end of the day, I can't make you do anything. Well, actually, I probably can now that you're registered to me. But aren't you the one who wanted to prove his innocence? Eliminate the impossible. I'll need your express verbal command. Not like David can press charges against us at this point. Do it. Do it. I said do it. Did you really need me to say that? For the purposes of record keeping, yes. I've gotten past the 64-digit code, and I have found cameras. There are a number of them embedded in this room's walls and ceilings. Are you theorize they're on a separate network from the rest of the building? Where are they feeding to, if not the Penumbra system? Behind my hibernation units. A false wall in the back of a safe. I don't understand. How would Father possibly have a hidden system of cameras inside his own home? Beats me. He was brilliant and more than a little odd. Throw a little money in, odd becomes eccentric. I think. I don't. What the hell was he thinking? What was he afraid of? This. Lady, he was afraid of this. Why didn't he come to me for... Time short. Gather facts now and leave the computation for later. Oh, there's more stuff to look at. Is this the same stuff? The liquor cabinet this mystery hangs on. The police have been through it all by now, and they didn't find foreign contents in any of the spirits. No poison to be found here. Well, not that kind of poison anyway. In which case... Can I make you anything? Well, if you're offering, I'll have... Sorry, you're way too underage, are you? 2 years old? She's 2. Technically. Took that one a lot worse than I expected. Sure, maybe you'll find a mocktail if you climb to the top of the ladder. You motherfucker. This is a rolling ladder, a kind of step ladder, not a ladder. I had to go through training. Well, okay. Had to is a strong word. I have training. Sarah's a bit of a booze hound. I have training that is due in the end of June, and I have been getting it done piecemeal. And I did the ladder safety training, and all I could think of was the fucking ladder, step ladder, ladder, step ladder, ladder, step ladder shit. And it's come back to haunt me. What? Remember, a ladder extends, but a step ladder folds out. This is the correct definition, unfortunately. And it's important to know the distinction. I bet my life savings the subject will never come up again, ever. Ma'am, I'm sorry to tell you. It's coming back. These people are freaks. Positive. What did David do with all his equipment? Dry his laundry? Makes you so sure he wasn't exercising. Did you see him use any of this crap? No, but he must have used the waste when I wasn't looking. He promised me that he'd take better care of his health. Sarah, these weights are all maxed out. David couldn't put up numbers like this even if he was piloting a frame. Don't be so sure, Adonai. Pardon? The following is a true story based on primary sources who were present for the event and its aftermath. Copenhagen, 1901, 10 a.m., local time. Did I say whatever? A Terry man with a musket of a world-class professional rugby player enters the Global Donka Bank on Fredericksburg Lane. He explains to the bank teller that he has a bomb in his suitcase and he wants his gym bag filled with unmarked bills. Security guard approaches him from behind a nice wicket and swings. The man simply catches the weapon and bends it into a twisted knot with his massive dinner plate-sized hands. When asked to describe the suspect to the police, afterwards the teller only this to say, "That man was all muscle." The rest of the bank case proceeds without incident, and the man exits the building just as police arrive to see him suddenly. His suitcase explodes, but it's just a smokescreen. Local officers quickly recognize the ploy and rush towards the door, grabbing each of the hostages as they flee while desperately searching for the perpetrator. What they find instead is a diminutive, frail, sheepish young man barely 160 centimeters tall, holding a gym bag full of money with no recollection of how he got there. Renowned psychologist and trained hypnotist Dr. Werner Kurtzer wrote the following in his diagnosis: acute dissociative identity disorder. That's right, the man had a split personality. Oh, I thought the ladder gets stuck in the step ladder. This is an alternate definition that is also acceptable. And so great was the disparity between his two halves that when they switched control, his physically changed, becoming taller, bulkier, and capable of physically unthinkable feats of strength. So be careful what you say with a man like Father can do just because of your looks on the outside. Lady, I don't think. See, Sarah, every single word you just said was false. Here, let's look it up. Every single word that you just said was false. Number 1, he is not your father. Number 2, it's not split personality disorder. It is dissociative identity disorder now, but not in 100 years. It won't be like that. Dr. Werner Kurtzer doesn't exist. His suitcase did not explode. There was no bank teller. There was no bomb. There is no Copenhagen. How dare you tell me that a place like Copenhagen exists? Huh? Don't believe everything you read on the net. She's such a child. She is 2 years old. Oh, that's so great. So is that the original? It was appraised and confirmed to be genuine. At least you didn't get ripped off. I'm a Philistine when it comes to this kind of stuff. What does an android see? I see a meeting. Or perhaps an encounter. 2 apex forces of nature. 2 kings of the forest. The stag and the tiger. I think. Great. I'm officially less cultured than the robot. That's great. I love it. What am I missing? What am I missing? The floor. What's the story with this anyway? Some kind of fault in the foundation? I don't know. I never noticed that crack before. I wonder how the various poor people I know would feel about their bodies changing to match who they're fronting. Horny? They'd probably feel horny. Knowing the people that we know, they would feel horny about it. I want to get those eyes checked. There's nothing wrong with my vision. This crack just must have been created during my most recent hibernation. How? Did David drop a weight a bunch of times over and over in the same spots? Okay, let's refocus here. Some kind of hidden door behind your bunk bed, huh? Essentially, though a bunk bed would imply a second or third. How do we open it? One moment. I see. Got it open already? I cannot open this door. I mean, I know plural people, you don't. In general. Like, yes, you know plural people, I don't. But, like, I can... Well, I guess I can't say with certainty that all the plural people that we know would be the same. But, like... You know what? Let's just continue. Why? It's a Tethys Basics Sturdicure? That anti-hack feature in the name is real? It's a closed system, Adonai. The hell am I supposed to do now? Strange, there was an if-then toggle enabled in the security parameters. I don't follow. When Father last adjusted the settings here, he made it so that the door would never open so long as I was hibernating. And he made it so that I was the only one who could wake her up. I mean, this is a door that only I can open? There'll be a 6-character password, some combination of numbers or letters. Did you and Father have any influential moments in your life that evolve around a 6-letter word? Christ. Is there a code word that only he knew I could learn? I mean... Was that your name you just tried? It's 6 characters, isn't it? Yes, but it's not exactly secure, Adonai. Anyone would know you and Father were close would have tried guessing it. Which is more than only the two of you. A nickname? Pretty much everyone called you Morgan, but not everyone. You know, while that's true, oh, that's Sarah's 5 letters. Shit. I remember this too. It's a great one. Fuck, man. I'm gonna try Morgan again. Would it be Morgie? M-O-R-G-I-E? Where would I even fucking find this? Would it be under terms? Where would it be? Wouldn't be this, would it? No. This is just his thing. I'll give you a hint. Try paying attention to the dialogue after you tried Morgan. Yeah, almost everybody calls her Morgan, but I don't know what he called her. Let me think. Anyone who knew you and Father were close would have tried guessing it. There's some word that only the two of you knew. A nickname. Not everyone calls her Morgan. Oh, I'm not going about the entire fucking backlog. It wouldn't be in profiles. Would it be in evidence? Doesn't appear to be in evidence. The ambiance is stressing me out, man. Alright, come on. There's gotta be something. Let me see. David called her Morgan. Think about who doesn't call her Morgan. I mean, this kid doesn't. Oh! Oh, that's... that. Good hint. Thank you. What's the password, Adonai? You'd never guess. Did feel a bit out of character, David using so much cloak and dagger tech, and I've definitely been struggling with the idea of him doing home improvement, but once I've been here it all makes sense. It's a panic room. Scary. A panic room is a place for rich people to hide in when people start bouncing bricks off their windows. They're typically not in the blueprints. No problem, I was worried a bit too much. It's a good hint. It's a very good hint. So Noble built this penthouse for one of their executives. I would not have gotten that. I would have been searching everywhere and pulled up nothing. Someone slipped this into the mix, and it's remained in Noble's blind spot ever since. All David had to do was repurpose it. Make sure you're capturing all this. I don't want to miss our one chance because of a discovery technicality. I understand, but you needn't specify. My memory is flawless. I can play back visuals, sound sensations. I can even give detailed reports on air particulates. You mean you could smell? Better than any human and some canines, but not all canines. She cannot match the bloodhound. So does it smell stale in here to you? Stale? It doesn't to me, almost like someone's been in here recently. Almost like someone visits here frequently. Okay, let's try booting up the computer. You think the console's password protected? 2 physical doors, a 64-digit code, half a ton Android, and a secret phrase. If David said a password on his PC after all that, I'm going back to the morgue to have a word with him. I'm going to smash his body. Good, it's already signed in. You're looking for camera footage? I'd also settle for a note plainly saying that he feared for his life. What am I doing? Here, you search for video files. They'll probably be timestamped and formatted for short-range devices. I have a subfolder. The cameras stream live data constantly, but the files are clipped at fairly regular intervals. Once every week, it seems. Most recent video file is footage going back 8 days. It was accessed yesterday around 4 p.m. Okay, hang on. It's... Where's the witness testimony? 4 p.m. Young didn't arrive until 7:30 p.m. When did What's-His-Face call? Where's What's-His-Face's report? Interesting. It's not there. You were asleep then, so the only person who could get any other time is David himself. Alright, let's see it then. Of course, it's just that I am having difficulty. Try double-clicking. I've been trying to open the files from the moment I discovered them, Adonai, but they are encrypted. Damn it, David, you leave me enough clues to get this far, but you won't let me use your computer. What's the brand of the encryption program? If I rush a subpoena, they might have a backdoor I could bluff them into. These files are not encrypted with any commercially available tool. This appears to be Father's own work. There's music by Lena Raine. I don't know who that is. Shit. If David Asher handwrote the encryption on these files, no one alive who could. Hey, was Dawes flattering you back there? Or is your processing power really that special? Adonai, can you break his encryption, yes or no? With enough time? And how much time would that be? I would estimate 2 to 6 hours? That's a 4-hour window. No matter how sophisticated encryption is still just a code that must be deciphered. When deciphering any code, progress proceeds exponentially, which makes it particularly difficult to determine the amount of time required to complete the process. 2 to 6 hours. I don't have any better options. Get started. I started 4 minutes and 23 seconds ago. Finally, showing some initiative. But you've been talking to me this whole time. I have the ability to do 2 things at once. As long as the work required is rotes. So you're doing it in the back of your head? Actually, I'm speaking to you in the back of my head. You are the rote work. Yes! I could give the decryption process... Blah. I could give the decryption process my full, undivided attention, but I would become non-responsive. Hey, there's a pretty nifty feature. I'll have to keep that in mind. Alright, can you take the show on the road, or do we have to rip this computer out of the wall and find a battery? I have copied the encrypted files and work on them as we travel. We can leave whenever you're ready. Still can't believe David let me this far just to shut the door in my face at the last second. But he did let me get this far. His boyfriend hasn't even been in here. They have never fucked on that bed. That we know of. They definitely haven't. She's a trans composer, did the Celeste soundtrack as some stuff for Guild Wars 2 and Minecraft. Ooh, nice. That'll be fun. The cabinets are a lot less eye-catching than his computer, but knowing David, that's all the more reason to check. Lots of paperwork, bonds, and holdings, a platinum bar. Excuse me? His birth certificate might be nearly as valuable. Can't imagine what people would pay to steal David Ash's identity, and down here at the bottom, a binder. Nobles logo on the front and the middle, enough pages to dwarf one of those phone books you see in period pieces. They're masking it in legalese, even on the table of contents, but basically, this is his employment contract. Details, compensation grounds for dismissal, definitions for what constitutes a breach of contract, and how arbitration will be handled. Not a light read. Here is, because I have a theory now. She killed him. They had a plan. They had a plan that would involve him leaving the company. And he talked about ending it because he was ending his work with the company to do something else. She killed him for corporate reasons. I hate that I hate that this thing got stuck. I mean, I want to mess with it more, but it's stuck on this fucking phone. Hold on to this for me. It must be very important if you're giving it to me. It's certainly very heavy. Was there anything else in there? Expecting an updated copy of his will to show up. It's a possibility, isn't it? Maybe in a corny old murder mystery. A widely beloved and respected genre of over 2 centuries. There is something here. Your papers. That Evangeline Morgan be given immediate and complete control over the android. Oh yeah, her name is Evangeline. Designated Sarah. It's dated to a few weeks back. Had he already made up his mind about all this? If he had, why hide this where no one else would find it? Was I a backup plan? One document, Evangeline Morgan has been given absolute ownership of the anniversary effect immediately as I dated over 2 weeks ago. Tax-free transaction, fortunately. I think I had a similar theory about her. Not the motive, but I assumed Helen was a killer. It's easy to assume. Also, don't say that, because that will make me question my theory. This is something a bit more concrete than Starling's word now. Her word should be plenty, shouldn't it? Not if people realize how precious you are. Aww. As a collector's item. And as a valuable android. We yet to meet one person who knows what the hell you are, but nobody could have easily argued that you fall into private technology or physical holdings, unless I had something like this. It's good that you do then. I'm glad that Father wanted me to go with a friend of his. Yeah. This will get me a huge tax write-off when I donate you to a for-profit college. You could at least pick a charitable institution. It's just an old saying. All colleges have been for-profit since the 60s. It doesn't make me feel any better. You could cheer up in the car. Hail us right at the courthouse. Priority. There's an upcharge at this hour for priority transportation. Oh, that's irritating. But I'd like to have more than just a few minutes to prepare once we get there. The upcharge is a multiplier of 5.7. I'll prepare on the way over. Very good, Adonai. Making you question your theory is part of why I said it that way. Does it excite you going into courtrooms? What do you mean? You don't feel the tension in the air as the audience murmurs amongst themselves? You don't feel a fiery sense of justice rising in your gut as the prosecution smirks to your ragtag assembly of witnesses? Do you really think this is going to be like kind of a movie where the good guys save the day? Probably not. But that would be nice if it were. It's gonna be like Danganronpa. What's your deal anyway? Did David train you off of a movie marathon from hell or something? We did watch films together, if that's what you're asking, though he was rarely the one who suggested it. So you were the aggressor. What's an android get out of watching a flick anyway? What do I get? Why do you do it? What's your reason? I'm not sure how to answer your question. Never mind. Forgot what I was talking to. I like the performances. Sure, there you go. Got a crush on Humphrey Bogart or something? He's a handsome man. But it's not the actors I like so much as their performance. The truth is, besides Father, I have very little experience when it comes to people. I hadn't noticed. I read the net, I watch people and what they share of their lives, but it's all so subtle, so hard to follow. There's so many unspoken rules that can't be taught, only learned, and I often struggle to grasp them. She's a small child. What is that? Who is that? You're all so complex, so detailed, but the characters on screen are exaggerated, larger than life. The actors enunciate, their body language is precise and meaningful, their faces are bright and softly lit, and their eyes are... It's fiction, so these characters in the stories, they have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and the people on screen don't ask anything of you except your attention. It can't disappoint them or make them feel awkward. You very much can. You can absolutely disappoint people who've made a movie that people who watched Morbius did. You can watch and learn, and you can sometimes cost people a lot of money. What about you, Adonai? What about me? Do you like movies? Yeah, sure, back when I was a kid. Really, who was your favorite director? What was your favorite film? It was a long time ago. I don't remember. Poor little psychopath. State building. Floor 48. Things are quieter than I expected here at the courthouse, though I've always felt courthouse is a bit of a misnomer. Government building is probably the best way to describe these towers, all encompassing and impenetrably vague. 100 floors of officials and documents and paper-pushing queues, with a couple of dozen courtrooms squeezing along the way. Didn't think I'd be arguing at court when I woke up today. Didn't think that my friend would be dead or that he'd have thrust an android in my lap either. I could just walk in there and concede. Emma would be irritated, or a little confused, but I would play it off as an exercise in grief. The android would complain, loudly of course, but I wouldn't have to listen to it. Now that it's registered my name, I could probably just order the damn thing to reset its memory. But I haven't done that, and I guess I don't plan to. Why? Because I'm a twisted fucking psychopath. Must be because I have my suspicions as well. Sarah insists that David would never commit suicide, and I haven't actually stopped to ask myself whether or not I agree. David was rational, subdued, private, hard on himself, and not prone to emotional outbursts, so maybe that's why I'm finding myself outside a courtroom preparing to humor and add suspicions before the state. Because I don't really believe David killed himself either. What's your progress bar at? I can confirm that I am making progress. Oh, shit, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it'd be difficult to summarize that progress in terms of completion percents. Give it your best shot anyway. 4%. Are you feeling confident in your case? Look, she said it was exponential. Give it time. Markedly less so after hearing that. Do you think the judge will be amenable to your arguments? What are you talking about? Do you know the judge we've been assigned? Are they particularly lenient or strict? Adjutants are always a coin flip, so... You do know what an adjutant is, don't you? Are you expecting to see a bearded old man with a robe and gown when we get in there? Should I not? Automated dependent judicial models. Ah. Automated dependents that preside over the trials of the state. While most adjutants are designed and sold as software and then loaded onto courthouse-specific hardware, including android bodies, they can interpret trial proceedings and render judgment based entirely on stenographer records, if need be, ruling on cases in an entirely digital capacity. Reviews of adjutants by third parties have shown that they are overwhelmingly more equitable and even-handed in their sentencing than human judges because they cannot be bribed or intimidated. Adjutants are especially preferred for cases involving organized crime or corporate misconduct, and that is a lie. Because if you can bribe the people who program the damn thing, you can bribe the thing. There's always a back door. Adjutants use a ninefold personality engram for rendering their judgments and building consensus known as the nonary system. I'm tempted to think that that is a nonary games reference. I'm not sure if it's in the same ballpark as Danganronpa. We'll see. Because each of these 9 personas are constructed by a different think tank or institution across the political spectrum, ideological contamination and adjutants use is practically impossible, but not entirely. I get to meet 80. But a small number of reported cases where non-ray processing has borne particularly enthusiastic or eccentric personas, presumably in an unorthodox, if not effective, attempt to reconcile particularly desperate opinions across a 9 constituent personas with a single, authoritative, loud voice. With the state's court backlog essentially cleared for the past half-decade, questions arose as to the continued need for adjutants to lighten the judicial system's human resource burden. The Senate Investigative Committee, has determined that removing adjutants from the legal system would be prohibitively expensive. Adjutants are android judges, okay, with all the authority that entails. I am surprised to hear that people are willing to accept rulings made by automated dependents. Rulings come from landmark cases in the higher courts. Those are passed down by actual judges, real people with decades of study and experience. But not every eviction case or traffic ticket that ends up in court requires years of legal expertise. Sometimes all you need is a referee and a sentencing algorithm. So androids are used to reduce caseload. Been that way for decades. But how is a law that replaced judges ever enforced? Wouldn't there be injunctions? Stalling? Judges did fight it for years at every level and in every theater. But the public lost their patience with that kind of obstruction during the 60s. The state needed to shred budgets across the board, and so judges that couldn't be replaced by years of legal battles were instead ushered into early retirement by the unrelenting force of our great nation's accountants. And it's not controversial having machines determine sentencing for human beings. Whatever controversy there is, it gets aimed at the machines, not the people who put them there. The machines can't lose sleep over it. Besides, it used to be that even the most high-profile crimes would get a court date until weeks or months later. Nowadays, most crimes are prosecuted within a single business week. Just like Ace Attorney. And that's not rushing things. Keeps people in line of work on their toes, that's for sure. I'm just surprised to hear that there's so much haste. Don't they teach about classical conditioning in android school? You gotta feed the dog immediately after you ring the bell. If punishment doesn't follow the crime in quick succession, the lesson doesn't stick. I see. But if actions are so effective, why aren't they just used in every trial? Why aren't they used in politics? That's a logical question to ask. And the answer is, that logic only gets you so far when it comes to people. Doesn't everyone want the course to be as just as possible? If actions were truly partial and corruptible, everyone wants justice, sure. There are other considerations to be had, such as disgust. Ooh. What? It's all people really care about, what all their morals boil down to, just what they do or don't find disgusting. It's true. The problem is, everything's more palatable when viewed through a screen. So when everyone sees the world through AR and cameras and no one ever gets dirt under their fingernails, you'd be surprised what you can get away with. I don't understand. Yeah, well, therein lies the problem. You have to teach her how to be human. You actual sociopath. David is sitting here like, I know the perfect person to teach my daughter how to be human. It is definitely not the heartbreak killer. It's a preliminary hearing, huh? You wouldn't know it from the look on her face. But I shouldn't have expected any leeway once we stepped into the courtroom. Not with her. That's the adjutant up there? Is it asleep? Oh my god. So, Fluffy, tell me one thing. There's no way people are normal about this thing. There's no way people are normal about this lady, right? There's no way people are normal about her. It needs to load? Don't be rude. Not every ad can afford to be decked out as extravagantly as you. Especially not the statue that buys in... Especially not those the state buys in bulk. There's an audience. You mean the gallery? That's nothing. Could have been a lot worse. Word of any trial in the case of David Asher's death must have spread like wildfire, even a mock trial like this one. Detectives like Reyes or London would get chewed out for leaking things to the press, but uniformed officers had little to lose and a lot to gain by dropping a text to their attentive friends in the media. Then there's the corporate plants. Interns, usually, preferably ones with modded eyes. It's illegal to film inside a courtroom, but this is the year 2086. Things are gonna get out one way or another. I don't like having my face on camera. I don't like attention in general, but I'm not such a coward that I'd skip David's funeral just because there'd be paparazzi outside of it. My pretty little likeness was going to end up in the background of some tabloid photograph one way or another by the end of this circus. At least this way I see some marketing from my legal services. What will happen once the adjutant finishes his loading? How will the trial proceed? With all those films you watch, I'd figured that you could extrapolate. I'm asking so as to correct my misconceptions. Well, not everything you saw on the silver screen is outdated. The court will come to order and there will be a clarification of the charges. The defense enters a plea, and if it's not guilty, the prosecution begins making their case. Means calling witnesses to the stand, correct? Mostly. Sometimes they'll testify virtually from a separate location. Depends on the security concerns surrounding the particular individual of the case. What do you do then? Sit here and watch? Not if I want to get paid. I cross-examine witnesses after the prosecution is done questioning them. I can present evidence or witnesses of my own response as long as I have discovery backing me. You said that before. Discovery means I can't pull stuff out of my ass and present it without any kind of context. I cannot just flash my badge in the courtroom like a certain person. I have to have proof that I acquired it legally during the course of my investigation. Most of the time, that means having recordings or witnesses that can verify my investigation, which I can provide. You didn't think I was letting you tag along because I liked you, did you? And the jury, I don't see where they would sit. The jury hasn't sat in the actual courtroom for years now. They have their own chambers where they watch and feed of the trial's proceedings in anonymity. And that's not an issue. Don't people want to look at somebody's eyes before passing judgment on them? You got an old-fashioned sense of justice, don't you? How do you pronounce that? Is that Idy or Ady? Is normal about herself. Oh, this is going to be great. But there's no jury to preliminary hearing anyway, so I meant to evaluate whether or not the prosecution has enough evidence to go to trial. I mean, formality in today's day and age, with tools like optics and arcs, there's never any sort of evidence to work with. So what I have to do today is convince the adjutants. Easier said than done. Adjutants lean heavily towards evidence over arguments, and right now all the evidence suggests that David killed himself. It's going to be an uphill battle I can't afford to stumble. I need to focus on establishing an alternate interpretation of the facts, and it needs to be solid, but I don't have a suspect or even a motive for killing David yet. Anyway, I'll need to be sharp. Now it doesn't play nice enough for me to be anything less. I think it's waking up. This third lower court is now in session. Adjutant AD-84 proceeding. AD. I call to order the case of the People v. Asher. Do the people wish to make an opening statement? I love the eyes. No, Your Honor. No point in bothering with just the adjutant here. Very well. Do the defense wish to make the opening statement? Not at this time, Your Honor. Might as well ring the bell and get this shit show started. If neither people or the defense wish to make an opening statement, then it falls to me to set the stage. My model name is Adjutant. My unit designation code is AD-84. I am a machine and automated dependent, and I serve the state by presiding over trials. You might find yourself wondering why. Hang on, I need to turn a fan on. I'm sorry if it shows up in the audio. It's warm. I'm watching the audio like a hawk. Yeah, it's definitely there, but I can't stop that. A fair question, but the answer is simple. In every culture, every society, about how it is worshipped, enshrined, or deified, justice is one defining quality. Justice is beautiful. Lady, I don't like being able to see your eyes. Put those back, please. Like a balanced equation, like the golden ratio, the Vitruvian man, justice is beautiful. So what gives me the right? This gorgeous bod. Good Lord. Whatever, forget it. Forget I said anything. I was trying to lighten the mood, but I can see everyone hates me. Do the trial without me. They're guilty or whatever. Your Honor. Wait, what the fuck? The defendant's already dead. Why are we doing this? Is this a debug thing? Because I'll log the error if I need to. Oh my lord. No, Your Honor, this is a preliminary hearing to determine whether David Asher did in fact commit suicide. I get it. You want to make sure he wasn't cuckoo in the cranium before he cut up his will like a T-bone. I know who she reminds me of. I didn't realize the actions were so lively. They aren't. They're supposed to be austere and statuesque. This one was based off of Junko Enoshima. Looks like we got served the most in need of repairs adjutant the court system could find. Whatever paper pusher we rushed to get this trial going must have wanted a little payback for the kindness. Oh. We love you, Junko bots. What's that look for? Could be you're trying to size me up? Yes, Junko bots. One dream a bit, Your Honor. Good, because you doubts my ability to run this trial. I could always just enact summary judgment here and now. I'm sure you find my full ruling to be fair and even-handed. Don't be necessary, Your Honor. She's much more of a character than I'm used to getting up here, and even counting all the flesh and blood judges I've met. She's great. She's still just an adjutant. She'll follow the evidence where it leads. As long as I can make a few adjustments for the occasional outburst from the bench, my plan's still workable. So, people, shall we get started with the first witness? Right away, Your Honor. People call Dr. Yumi Sato to the stand. Hello, centipede lady. It's Yumi. Hey. So, how about it, pretty lady? You call her pretty? Look at that. Look at this. Look at her. Oh, she is great. You swear to tell the whole and unadulterated truth to the best of your ability? I do. Good enough for me. Dr. Sato, you were in charge of the autopsy for David Asher, were you not? I was. When did you make your examination? I started last night. Well, technically 1 a.m. would be very early this morning. I think I still say last night if you're talking about 1 in the morning. Oh, for the love of fuck, man. The defense will have our tribute to cross-examine until then they should refrain from making errant remarks. The hell? All I said was... Yeah, what she said. You mean sustained. Don't get cute with me, counselor. Okay. Being cute is my job. God damn, we've barely gotten started. That seemed pretty bad, Adonai. We should try to avoid being penalized in the future. Blind -1. Thanks for the tip. Shake it off, I'll get my chance to raise objections of my own soon enough. Dr. Sato, were you able to determine the cause of death? He passed away due to respiratory failure. Could you explain what that means to the courts? Essentially, he wasn't getting enough oxygen into his blood. It seems that by the time he arrived at the hospital, he was no longer breathing. What does respiratory failure look like? What are the symptoms? There'd be lightheadedness, dizziness, fainting, pale skin, and a bluish tinge around certain extremities. The condition he was in matched those symptoms? Correct. In your experience, what are the most common causes of respiratory failure? It can be caused by injury or disease, but the subject had no wounds or reported illnesses and otherwise appeared to be perfectly healthy. And what else could cause respiratory failure then? It is also commonly seen in fatal drug overdoses. Drug overdoses. Did you perform a tox screen on Dr. Asher? Yes, but a tox screen came back clean. Whatever killed him, it wasn't something we've encountered before. Wait, a clean tox screen? Clean? Can't let this chance slip by. I need to catch her mistake the second it comes out of her mouth. I mean, I can't... Oh, okay. We want the whiskey. Want to bet? That's cute. It's impossible for David Asher's toss to be clean, and we all know it, since he was on camera drinking alcohol the night that he died. Ah! That makes sense. You've got that wrong. And that scared you? The witness merely misspoke, Your Honor. As it plainly states in the tox report itself, Dr. Asher did not have alcohol in his blood, but not as such as concentration to be lethal. Yeah, my bad. When I meant clean, I just meant... I didn't tell the attending physicians anything they didn't already know. Overall, a little more nitpicky than I'd like to be, but at least I was able to balance the momentum more or less. Shall we continue? The tox screens were negative for pharmaceuticals and drugs. What caused Dr. Asher's respiratory failure? During my autopsy, I analyzed his blood and was able to isolate foreign compounds. There was a lethal dose of a drug inside his body, just happened to be a drug that the hospital had never encountered before. That's correct. I think we're all going to get tired pretty fast if you don't pick a placeholder name for the substance, Your Honor. The people don't object, Your Honor. In that case, I'll put all my creative heuristics to come over with the original scientific fitting name for the substance, a name like Omega. Omega-3. Oh my fucking god. She's so dead. She's done. That name is already taken. Fine, call it Delta or whatever. Delta, used in science to denote an unknown variable. Not bad. Delta has other meanings when it comes to drugs, but yeah, our Delta match is known in public pharmacology or toxicology records. That being said, chemically it does have all the hallmarks of a general depressant. I know the feeling. So it stands to reason that it would exhibit a similar effect on the body when ingested. You say ingested, why? I eliminated all other possibilities during my examination of the body. He must have swallowed it, and judging from the stomach contents, it must have been liquid. Thank you, Dr. Sato. Shall I summarize things for the courts? Yes, please, I wasn't listening that closely. Okay, respiratory failure. Tox which shows blood was clear of anything that caused respiratory failure. Except for this unknown substance, the poison we've labeled Delta. It sounds like textbook suicide. Should we wrap it up here? Not quite yet, Your Honor. It may clearly be a poisoning, but there's at least one detail about this case that doesn't feel like a suicide at all. Okay, hang on. What does quick bar mean? It doesn't mean anything. Okay. Didn't seem at anything. Corroborated by cam footage. It's gotta be the testimony, but the people shouldn't get ahead of themselves. There's nothing textbook about a supposed suicide that had a witness sitting there watching it happen. Oh, 3. As you say. Well, now I'm lost. Was this poisoning a suicide or not? If that's the case, perhaps we should give the defense the opportunity to cross-examine. This one insists on testifying themselves. How kind of you to offer. Ball's in my court now. How do I counter? Emma's argument basically goes as follows. David adjusted the delta knowingly, and the delta caused respiratory failure. He died of respiratory failure, thus David committed suicide. In my cross-examination, he put a microscope over the weakest part of that argument. And hope that cracks will appear under pressure. Ooh. Are you sure it was ingested? You said that the subject had to have ingested the delta orally, but how sure can we actually be about that? Pretty sure? I mean, I can go into detail about all the cavities I checked, but... was it knowingly ingested? But how sure can we be that the subject ingested the delta knowingly? Well, we can't be sure of that, so not just from an autopsy. You said it must have been liquid, yes? Would it have been in large amounts? Well, it depends on the concentration of the delivery solution. It must have been just a drop. I can't read the numbers here. Are we winning? Oh, 17 out of 21. I can read them up here. Oh, cool. We're playing blackjack. This is great. The kind of thing that could easily go unnoticed, yes? Cause for speculation, Your Honor? Withdrawn. Aw, man, I wanted to jump on her case. Dr. Sato, you were only able to identify the presence of the delta after hours of work. Can you really be sure that this never-before-seen chemical can cause respiratory failure? Well, I've had time to run simulation, and they do give every indication that it would act as a depressant. Just enough of any depressant, respiratory failure would occur. I feel like this is the wrong move. You've done simulations, so you haven't tested delta on an actual person. No, I haven't. Hey, we were there. They're very difficult to do given our extremely limited sample, not to mention highly unethical. Of course. But without such tests, you don't actually know for sure that delta can cause any of the symptoms you described. Is there a question on that statement, Counselor? You don't actually know for sure, do you? No, not yet anyway. Seems like that's... blackjack. Did I win? I can't tell. Hey, the world reached 21 at blackjack. Nice. Thank you for your time, Dr. Sato. We all appreciate it. But it does seem like we're a little dark about many details regarding Dr. Asher's death, wouldn't you say? Well, poisoning via the compound we're calling delta is still the most likely explanation. There are other explanations for what happened. Defense is calling for speculation, Your Honor. It's not speculation when the medical examiner is attempting to explain the cause of death, Your Honor. The witness will answer the question. Well, respiratory failure can be caused by illness. If he had undiagnosed pneumonia or some other disease and his respiratory system is weakened. Undiagnosed pneumonia with his level of health care? It is technically possible. I'll take it. I have no other questions for witness. That felt weak, but I can't be picky when I'm stalling for time. Seeding doubt wherever I can, however I can, is just about all I can manage. Till that robot is done. Detective Reyes, you're one of the leads in investigating this crime scene. Hey, she's here. Yes, ma'am. And did you interview the EMTs who first arrived on the scene? I did. They responded to an emergency signal from the home security console located in the kitchen. What did they find when they arrived in the scene? The victim was unconscious on the floor of his parlor. He was receiving CPR from a witness, the individual who had called them. They were both airlifted to Gatesfield Memorial Hospital, and Dr. Asher was declared dead shortly after arriving there. She's actually handling herself pretty well up on the stand. I half expected her to roll her eyes during the swearing in. But taking into consideration her love for boot heel authority, she might be right at home in the courtroom, the very seat of the state's power over the people. The witness met with the deceased between half an hour before he fell ill from 7:30 to 8 p.m. The two of them talked for some time and shared a drink. Shortly after, Dr. Asher became distracted, lightheaded, eventually non-responsive. And during the same time period, drinking the same liquor, this witness exhibited no symptoms themselves. None. Through a collaborative effort with Noble Electronic Security Division, we searched the entire building. We found nothing unusual in any of the food or drink of the premises, including the bottle that the witness and deceased drank from. So he told me a conclusion after investigating the scene. The whiskey bottle was clean, the witness's drink was clean. The only person who got sick was Dr. Asher, drinking from a cup that he had prepared. So his determination David Asher committed suicide by poisoning himself. She's pretty tight-lipped about there, but I think she slipped up at least once. The police want to claim that they've eliminated every other possibility, covered every angle, but I know that there are a number of blind spots they're not willing to admit to. Oh, hang on. Yes. Was it? Oh, god damn it. Oh, that's a lot. Okay, hang on. Oh, cool. Oh, I hate that. Unmarried dependent, likes raw salmon, running water, gymnastics. Dislikes criminals, contrarians, pigeons. Self-assigned Libra. Hell yes. Open, obedient, observant of people. Okay, sure. Ugh. There's no penalty for going through his a couple of times. I figured it'd be like that. I just didn't. I thought I had more time. David's cup. Toxicology. Too much of the whiskey was drunk and or evaporated. Where is the upright cup? I don't see upright cup in my thing here. Where'd it go? Okay. Definitely, Your Honor. Upright cup. David's cup. Poison. Where's the upright cup? No additional traces were found anywhere at the crime scene or in David's penthouse. Young's cup, there it is. Okay, let's do this smart thing and just walk through it again. He's the one who prepared the drinks, and there was no opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. He drank from a cup that he himself poisoned. Seems pretty cut and dry if you ask me. But just to be sure, we scanned the kitchen, the lab, the basements. And there was no poison anywhere else. What? Fuck. Oh no, he wasn't dead by 8, was he? Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. I think I'm ready if you need a hint. Not yet. We're getting there, though. We have David's cup, upright cut, and the poison. Forensic analysis shows matches for his fingerprints and saliva, but toxicology has also been proven inconclusive. Maybe it is David's cup as the dang plastic cup with a small amount of whiskey left in it, found upright on the dining table, scene of the crime. And the third one was the poison. Okay. It's David's cup, so I'm going to assume we have to say that we cannot prove that it drank from it. Yes. True. Call. David's cup. Yes? I think that worked. You can't make that claim out with the evidence clearly shows the test of David Asher's cup were inconclusive. The police can't claim he drank from a poisoned cup without first proving that his cup was in fact poisoned. Hey, I got my things back that I lost. You're talking a lot of sense, lady. Does it resolve, or do you have a response, D.A. Rockford? Testing on the deceased cup has been inconclusive so far, Your Honor. I don't dispute that, though I'd be surprised if the defense has any idea how else the poison could have been delivered to Dr. Asher alone. Not at this time, but that's the funny thing about the burden of proof. It's not on the defense. As we are all aware. Right, we all knew that. I definitely knew that. Now, if people are done bemoaning that pesky innocent proved guilty issue, perhaps I could begin my cross-examination? Fire away! Fire away. Baby? Fire away, baby. Okay, David's the only one who could poison himself. She'll be on guard and hard set against helping me, but if I keep her focused on eliminating other possibilities, I could get her to make any point for me before she realizes what's happened. Could have been poisoned off camera. Possible. I don't know how else it could have been done, but I guess it just shows it has been suicide. What time was off camera is when he was all by himself. Oh, that wasn't it? Shit, that's not where I want to leave the conversation. Okay. Only people saw the cameras were there with Dr. Asher the witness. Yeah? Are there any parts of the house that aren't recorded by camera? Sure. There are a number of rooms in the home's interior that don't have cameras in them. So it's possible that there were other people there that night because cameras weren't watching every room. No, that's not possible. You only way up to the penthouse is through the building's elevator and the fire escape, both of which are on camera. And someone gets you through past the front door, which is also on camera. And besides, the two of them were there that day. Sure. We would have seen them leave again through the front. Yeah, figured. Fuck. Not that exhausted, damn it. Ever seen poisoning himself? Sure, whatever. Detective, we're doing a lot of assuming and reasoning in this quick session. Alexa's playing for the court. Is there any photographic evidence showing David Asher had anything to his drink that night? No. Seems he'd already poured him for the both of them by the time he returned. I thought that question was like, have you ever seen him poison himself? Is that like a regular thing that he did? You know, like at the bar. He had already poured. In that case, the next question needs to be when and what. And he poisoned the kitchen. No, you didn't. Correct. 19 out of 21. That was a fast answer. Well, it was a pretty easy question. If we had found poison at the scene of the crime, it would be pretty important, don't you think? About his lab, his bedroom, his basements. No, no, and no. We didn't find Delta or any other unusual substance in any part of the penthouse. Right there, we found any poison. No poison at all. What about a poison container? At any point in the investigation, was poison found on the body of the deceased? No? He must have been searched. Did he have any capsules of vials, eye choppers? Did he even have his wallet on him? Why? Thank you for letting the court about this point, Detective. What points? Well, I think it's strange, don't you, Detective? I mean, how could he have possibly poisoned himself without first procuring some poison? Took some hits, but that works. What do you mean, procure? Where did it come from, Detective, the poison that you're so sure was dissolved in his drink? It can't have come from thin air, you understand? It had to have been in a container at some points. Whatever is in before it probably evaporated. The container? All of it? It only took a small droplet to kill. Your Honor, are you going to ask him to keep it civil? In a minute, sure. There wasn't any pill bottle found in his bathroom or syringe in his pocket containing the apparently deadly substance. So how did he get it? Where did he keep it in? The police want to make the claim that Dr. Asher committed suicide because they established that his guest never had an opportunity to kill him, but they failed to prove the victim had the means to kill himself. Then I guess I'll be the one to move things along. The Delta didn't cut a thin air, counselor. That didn't come from a syringe either. Dr. Asher would drip the poison right into his cup. Straight from the source. Shit, that's way too specific to be a bluff. Allow me to submit into evidence Exhibit G, the printer. Heidi enjoys the praise Morgan Yuri too. I think this is another reason why it's bad. So another product named Nanofacturer. Oh, I know this one. It's used in delicate scientific work to produce nanomachines, chemical compounds, and polymers. And that's the same machine I saw when Days gave me a tour of the production floor. Very good, Your Honor. It's a valuable tool in any scientific laboratory. Dr. Asher was well acquainted with its use. As a matter of fact, he had a number of presets coded into it. Even the android can see where this is going. You gotta stop saying that. Like, she's smart. With just a few taps, he could reproduce any number of specific substances for his research or any other chemicals heart desired, really. You'd think Randock mechanics would allow their product to be used to produce illicit chemicals. Using the manufacturer to make unlicensed drugs does go against the terms and conditions, so Dr. Ash's warranty is certainly null and void, but they can't hardcode their machines to prevent the production of a drug that hasn't been invented yet. Dr. Asher died instead of related to depressant overdose. For him, it would have been peaceful like falling asleep, but that's not how that works. You see, he didn't commission a synthetic drug from some street vendor or an exotic piece of poison from overseas. He could produce doses at any time that come from his own home. Like a painless death, readily available in under the minute at the touch of a button. Specifically, preset number 19. Damn. I thought I actually had something for a moment there, but I was playing into M's hand the entire time. Let's see that. Presets on David's model's history exist for a compound identical to the subject found in a bloodstream after his death. Cool. Seems like we're done with this business, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am. But before we move on, perhaps we should take a moment and put together the time of events as we know them. Not for me, of course, just in case someone else might need it. Simple enough. Asher left the parlor and went down to basement 736. We got the whiskey and the cups they drank from. Camera show him returning to the parlor to drink the witness 740. Of course, we know that he fell in and passed away shortly after. Any objections? She has the timeline correct so far. Not this time, no. Let me describe it as accurate as we know it. As you say. With this latest piece of evidence, we know that Asher could have easily dispensed the poison directly into his cup by placing it inside the manufacturer, activating the preset, and simply waiting 2 minutes. Easy accomplished in the 4 minutes he spent off camera from 7:36 to 7:40. When you say? Ooh, a complete timeline of events. He had the means, he had the only opportunity. Seems like we're about ready to wrap up here, no? Where are we on that loading bar of yours, Sienna? Adonai, I had a feeling you'd say that. Well, Counselor, are we done here? It's missing something. Feels like we're missing at least one biggie here, folks. Namely, motive. Oh, right, I knew that. I wasn't getting excited to finish early or anything. This is a preliminary hearing, Counselor. Our focus should be on the evidence, so it just feels like an awful waste of taxpayer dollars to get us all down here to debate and not get to the truth of the matter, you know? So? Well, so we wouldn't have to go through this next part. What are you talking about? Your Honor, if it pleases the court... Ooh, new evidence? Gimme. This is a recording of a phone conversation. Oh, it's the fucking conversation. I need to go get laser shot. Me good luck and have fun. I will. Thank you for being here and talking. Alright, great. It's Isaac Porter. Let's go. No one wants to present it here now, and the content must be relevance, Your Honor. Yeah, that what bearing would this recording have on the case at hand? It establishes what emotional state the deceased had on the day he died. Cool. Begin playback. Ooh, we're not gonna look this. Hello. Always so soft-spoken. Oh. Isaac, you there? Yeah, I'm here. What's wrong? Don't know, guess I wasn't expecting you to pick up. Why not? Did you mean to call me? Yeah, I did. You gonna ask me how I've been? Yeah, how you been? Christ, David. What's the matter? Whatever it is, whatever I did, I'm sorry. Whatever you did. That's right, man. I'm sure you are sorry. I don't want any more apologies from you. I'm okay. I don't think I want anything from you anymore, David. What do you mean? I shouldn't have done this. This was unnecessary. My bad, man, for not taking the hints. With you, it's always better left unsaid, right? More efficient that way, so you can keep working. Isaac, if I've been distant with you, or I haven't been distant with me or cold with me or anything with me for a while now. Isaac, Just forget it, man. Forget I called. Forget it all, yeah? Let's just forget we were ever anything but strangers. That's all we're on now, anyway. Aww. I've been distracted, I know. Nah, don't worry about it. Really, we're good. Oh, okay. So you need anything or ooh, rip. Where'd you even get this? All of Dr. Asher's incoming and outgoing phone calls are recorded by the building's penumbra system, and the recording continued for several seconds after each call was edited for quality assurance. I'm going to check the terms and conditions of my next phone bill. Blah, 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 blah. This is common knowledge among noble employees living in the facility. All phone calls received are made from... That's useless to me. Shall we hear the rest? Gotta be the last time I let someone... Last time. Father. Alright. Oh, that's cute. Phone call took place between night porter from 6:29 to 6:36 p.m. Isaac ended their relationship during the call because the call was received as soon as 6:36 p.m. When did he die? 40 p.m.? Hold on, where is it? There we go. Jung arrived at 7:30 p.m. He had an hour. Might just be a call, but it makes for pretty damning evidence at this point of the discussion. Emma's got her means, opportunity, motive all lined up. So why is she looking at me like that? That was depressing. Can we finish it up without anything else that horrible? Emma's never been apologetic in victory. So does it mean this is just... pity? Huh. Less than 2 hours before Asher died, Isaac put her into the relationship over the phone. The court can make a reasonable assumption about the kind of mental state Dr. Asher was in last night. That was a bad move. Then if people have nothing further to add, I've been feeling off my game all day, caught between corporate inbreeders and ant-brain protesters, and pity me? Here and now? That's all it takes to get my blood properly boiling. It's about time for me to call my first witness. No? Oh, she is evil. You want to keep going after that? What are you doing, counselor? This is called the ultimate silver bullet, rock solid slam dunk witness a girl could ask for. Young? Jess? Is here any good? Does it matter where I put my hands? Miss Darling, thank you for coming here today. Of course, whatever can I do? What is your relationship to the deceased? I was executive assistant in Nova Electronics. I would arrange his meetings, coordinate communications with him and other departments. You would know his mental states. Ultimate silver bullet. Starling's the only play right now, the only stalling tool I have left. For now, I should just focus on getting as much information from her as possible. Whether or not it's useful, at least buy me some time. While Jess was being sworn in, Sarah mentioned that the hard drive is about 60% decrypted. Considering the rate Sarah's gone it so far, there's maybe another hour left. I might be able to stall that long. Talk real slow. I'd like to ask you a few questions about Dr. Asher. Please answer them to the best of your ability. Right. Dr. Asher was a well-known public figure, but was he well regarded professionally? Of course. Dr. Asher's work set the bar for the entire automated dependent world. Stay focused, Spearmint. You say you coordinated his communications. Were there ever threats? Did people express an intent to harm him? Objection calls for speculation. Intent? I feel like that's gonna be, sustained. Did anyone ever threaten him? There are times where he was the focus of negative attention. How so? Dr. Asher was a favorite subject of many conspiracy theorists. With all his contributions to the field, it was easy for them to make claims about his influence. They say that his work was plagiarized, that he was hiding illegal subcommands of the technology he helped develop. And people would contact him about these conspiracy theories. Relevance? Whether or not people wanted to kill him? Well, withdrawn. Miss Starling? People would attempt to contact him, yes, but their messages were always too vague for the police to take action on. They would say that he belonged in jail, or that he couldn't avoid the truth, or that someone should do something to shut him up. Did they ever talk about hurting him? Yes, but I always turn those messages straight over to the police. Yeah, I'm seeing that on the record. Yeesh, who writes this stuff? I mean, who says this stuff? It was a verbal call. All those cases have long since been resolved, Your Honor. And none of the parties involved have gotten contract with David Asher in years. The police have taken harassment very seriously. Pfft. Something you want to add, Counselor? Just clear my throats. May I continue? Jessica Starling testifies David Asher experienced harassment and stalking from conspiracy theorists throughout his career in Noble. Cool. You worked with Dr. Asher for many years. Oh, this is called Bring the Delay. I see why. Did you have a relationship outside of work? Did you ever talk about anything besides professional concerns? Sure, we've gone out to dinner and met on the weekends. I like to think he picked my brains as he needed relationship advice a lot, even if he didn't realize that was what he was asking for. I like to think that he knew he could talk to me, but did he ever talk to you or your knowledge anyone else about hurting himself? God, no, never. Do you have any history you might have had with mental illness, depression, anxiety? No. So when you heard the people argue that Dr. Asher done this himself, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. You're saying you can't believe. Objection. What grounds? Asked and answered, stalling, and also, the people have documents that will be of interest to the court in this matter. Did you see, and what matter specifically are you referring to? The deceased's mental health history. Cool. Except, they hide the corporate stuff in those. What the hell is this about? We have private correspondence that describe if they're private, they should not have been detained by people without his permission. He can't give permission, he's already dead, and we're well within our rights to obtain evidence as pertains to this crime. Convincing. Damn, I didn't honestly expect her to stop her from admitting to her evidence. I didn't honestly expect her to stop her from admitting her evidence to the record, but I was hoping to at least slow her. Where are you on that footage? 77%. Approximately. Cheh. I need to buy whatever time I can, however I can. Even if that means running out the clock as a punching bag. Okay, messages between Dr. Asher's psychiatrist and me speaking for the past year, along with paperwork detailing how his treatment was covered with his platinum plan. Codicus platinum as it is used to schedule and pay for psychiatric appointments on several occasions last year. But platinum. I don't intend to air out Dr. Asher's secrets here in the court. Okay, I guess, but I can prepare to read excerpts from messages and transcripts from phone calls, which put together paints a clear picture of the stress Dr. David Asher was experiencing, and the dark thoughts he was struggling with. Transcripts of his phone calls. I'll admit them to evidence, assuming there are no objections. Do I raise here? Let's try it. I'll gladly object. The grounds of foundation. Where do you say you got this? Choose from the digital records. There's no reason to doubt its authenticity, even if I were to point out that David had an executive level plan for, not a platinum plan. What? Really? Really? Yes, really, it's all there in the record. This is easily explained. David had an executive floor plan that had no blanche for him. And he was also admitting this to psychiatrists both in person and over the phone. Your own witnesses attest that he dealt with stalkers and worried for his privacy. Separate insurance policy that paid for on his own. Even to only keep one thing out of Noble's grasp. Sure, easy enough to make that assumption, but that doesn't make it correct. David uses separate insurance to hide his psychiatrist from Noble's spying. No, he was smarter than that. Oh, for the love of fuck. What was the backlog again? David uses separate insurance to hide the psychiatrist from Noble's spying. He was smarter than that. It was recorded calls over the psychiatrist? That didn't work. Oh, it's only unless we put on the platinum plan. I picked the wrong one. Come on, I meant to do recorded calls. David may well have wanted a private psychiatrist, someone who didn't work for Noble, who had his best interest at heart, but if so, he wouldn't have contacted them over the phone. Now we know all his phone calls are being recorded. I got it back at least. That's... David Asher was well versed in having every aspect of his life underlined by data-hungry parasites. Do you really think he would try to hide mental health problems with them from his second insurance policy? Apparently, yes. I'm standing here with evidence that shows exactly that. Does it, though? Pardon me? Yeah, like, what exactly are you suggesting, Counselor? Still not done decrypting? Most difficult? Right. What the hell? Might as well swing for the fences at this point. I'm not trying to muddle the issue or confuse the court, Your Honor, and I would never make outlandish, unsubstantiated claims just for the sake of causing drama. That's not me. What are you... I'm really concerned that D.A. Rockford has been an unwitting pawn in active corporate espionage. Yeah. No, it's true. If the markets were to open Monday with people believing that David Asher, the man who programmed the brain of every noble android, was battling mental health issues for the last several months... Objection, mischaracterization, foundation, all the rest. No covert spies in this courtroom, Counselor, and there are no boogeymen hiding under the bench. Oh, thank God. I do not for a second believe that she believes in God. David Asher is a once-in-a-generation intellect and an extremely valuable human asset to his employers, and his employers have many enemies who do whatever it takes to destroy his credibility now that he can't defend himself. It is also your personal... You shouldn't even be here arguing this case in the first place, Counselor. Are you trying to call police evidence gathering into question? All because you can't admit for the past several months your friend has been seeing a psychiatrist every Monday and you didn't know? That is... sorry, but, like, did you still leave me up here? What is all the frame and interrupting with girls are fighting? Hang on. I hope that caught. I needed a screenshot of that. Yes, ma'am. With how my luck's been so far, Sarah's progress bar is probably moving backwards right about now. And Emma's patience is wearing thin. This can be a lash out to create any kind of reasonable doubts. We have reasonable doubts, stupid lady. I'd be happy to wrap up my questioning if the court will allow. That seems cool with me. And my evidence, Your Honor, will be entered in the record? I'd like to hear a bit more testimony before deciding. That's fine, Your Honor. As you were. At this stage of the game, with the score well it's at, I could probably ask one question. Better make it count so we can certainly tell us anybody else could. If she had called me this morning, I wouldn't be standing here, and she only did that because... Miss Starling, the blank keeps going up. I hate it. We're all gathered here to try and figure out what happened to David Asher last night. So please tell us, when exactly did he last... What was that question? Christ. Sweating like a pig. Pig dog. Trying to figure out what happened to Dr. Asher. When did he last contact you? Well, it's pretty easy to figure out. Let me just... Yeah, it was last night, 6:70 p.m. We texted back and forth. There are records of some texts, but they're flagged as work-related. Does the court really do you think they're relevant? Relevance? Yeah, they're relevance. Could very well be the most single important piece of evidence in a trial. I am talking entirely out my ass. What? I just got chills. Oh, and you're blushing. I don't know why, though. Let's be coolantly, the defense doesn't know what they're talking about. On the contrary. Those texts are a vital piece of evidence that have changed timeline events as we know them. 6:57 p.m. after the breakup, before she arrived, David asked her to set up a meeting between the two of them and Evangeline Morgan on a Tuesday. Bingo bango. He would not do that if he planned on dying. Case closed, bitch. You know what happened to David last night, generally speaking, but the order of events is critical, especially if Emma wants to make claims about David's state of mind. Isaac's call... hang on. Young's testimony, Starling's text. So it'd be text, Young, faint. Yeah, that's it. Thanks to Mr. Starling, we now got a much clearer picture of tonight's events. We know Isaac Porter and David Asher broke up at 6:30 p.m. And I was rooting for them so hard. No, you were not. You knew as well as I do that they were not meant for it. And we know that David messages his decision. Mr. Starling at 6:50 p.m. David is on camera with the witness from 7:30 to 8. And he was declared dead not long after. People don't object to that timeline of events, but we do question Council Worker's reason for belaboring it. One last question, Miss Starling. Yeah? What's the nature of conversation with Dr. Asher? Well, actually, we talked about you. And how he wanted you to have his android. Well, that android there. Putting his affairs in order, I guess. It might appear that way. Can you specify what his instructions were exactly? How do you want this done? Well, he wanted to bring you to his penthouse and help you get set up as Android's new owner. Yes, when did he want this to happen? Well, he said it was pretty urgent, so I should do it first thing Tuesday morning. Tuesday? First thing Tuesday morning. David Asher didn't like doing anything on Mondays. And he was going to be in attendance. Well, actually, yes. He said he would work from home to help us. No way he intended for us to have that much trouble getting to... Oh. To summarize, then. Half an hour after he had already had his breakup and half an hour before his guest had arrived, he was planning an appointment that would require his presence with you for next Tuesday. That's right, he was. Not something you'd think to do if you're planning on dying that very night. Yeah, you're right. Your Honor, David Asher was preparing for the week ahead a mere hour before he passed away. Don't you think that people's assumptions about his mental state ought to be re-examined? Well, your logic is sound. Do the people have a rebuttal? If the court will just allow a moment. Sounds like an opening. If we assume that Dr. Asher was not suicidal and therefore he did not kill himself, then he must ask ourselves who else had the means, motive, and opportunity to take his life. Until now, we've taken for granted this idea that Delta must have come from his manufacturer from inside the house. Adonai. Not right now. But even if that's true, which it may not be, that doesn't mean he was the one who's the manufacturer. Adonai. Would you allow me one moment to confer, Your Honor? Sure, why not throw away your momentum? I'm in the middle of something. I can't afford to let Rockford. I've gained access to the hard drive's files. Okay. Seriously? As I said, progress with this type of encryption is exponential. Once she hits 60%, you should know she would be done soon. It can be difficult to estimate. Right. Okay. Do you have the footage from last night? I have the file. Have you watched it? I thought you want to know right away. I suppose it doesn't matter. Either this is a silver bullet and we got a case, or it doesn't and everything falls apart. That seems risky. It's the least risky path to victory we have. Seeing how it's the only path to victory. Screw it. Upload to the court computer. Yes, Adonai. Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. Your Honor? I'm awake, and I'm getting a pretty hefty chunk of video data for breakfast. You're submitting security footage into evidence. New security footage. The police corroborated with the witness testimony using the house's cameras. Security cameras installed by Noble as part of the penumbra system that showed the parlor, the kitchen, but not the basement. During the course of my investigation, I uncovered a hidden security circuit buried in the deceased's own home system. You what? The people say the Delta must have been Dr. Asher's cup because there's no other way for him to have ingested it, but we never saw him or anyone else put anything into his cup on camera because he must have poisoned his own drink off camera. Exactly. What? That's an impossible explanation, that he added the Delta to his drink off camera. He placed his cup inside the manufacturer, activated it, waited 2 minutes, and then walked upstairs to his death. But I'm about to present the court footage retrieved from the basement. Footage that will show that by the time we retrieve the cups, the basement has already passed to 7:38. I think he didn't have the opportunity to poison himself. I hope you're right. You're really banking on that. If it doesn't, I'm screwed. But it's not like I can lose a preliminary hearing extra hard. Anything other than a royal flush means I'm bust. So it better be the Joker who dances. The data has been entered. Sarah, show us when Dr. Asher entered the basement. Suddenly I'll search for it now. Here. On screen. Bar, timestamp, 7:36. David's grabbed Bala Rose River and leaving. At 7:37. Just under the wire, as it were. Is that it then? I came this far, just wait. Did he have the cups with them? Is there sound? None at all. Keep going. If you had to go back to get the cups. Counselor. What's that I enjoy doing on camera? Is at the bar. The android gave him the cups. Shit. That machine never stepped on camera upstairs, not once. We don't know where its whereabouts on the day of his death. It could have poisoned the cup whenever it wanted. Shit. What is this? I don't understand. Your Honor, have the courtroom cleared. Understood. Please, someone. I don't know what's going on. Sarah, you need to shut down. Please, tell me what I'm looking at. I don't remember any of that. Do we have callers available? Sarah, shut down now. And please tell. Oh no, she's sad. No. That's an order. Oof. Aw, she's sleepy. Is it off? Yeah, it's off. I've seen this before. It won't do anything until I reactivate it. We don't know that. We don't know anything about this thing anymore. That's Your Honor. In light of this most recent evidence, the people would like to withdraw their charges against Dr. Asher and end this preliminary hearing. It was made abundantly clear that Dr. David Asher did not commit suicide. Very well, the charge is withdrawn and the defendant is free to go. Well, as free as he can be in the afterlife. Case is dismissed. Congratulations, Dr. Morgan. Yay. Chalk up another victory for Morgan Esquire. Now all I have to do is deal with the shitstorm of the decade. Hey. Well, I managed to prove that David didn't kill himself. In the process, I proved his android did. I proved the android that's been walking around with me all day is capable of murder. Kill a robot, a true unbound AI with military-grade specs, and at least one death to his name already. So much for avoiding the public eye. Thank you for coming here on such short notice, Judge Barrows. Oh. Ha! As if I'm doing you some kind of favor, I didn't realize I had any choice in the matter. This is some bad joke, isn't it, Miss Rockford? I'm afraid not, Your Honor. You know I like the adjutants, I always have. They deal with the criminal trials so that bookish, quiet, contemplative people like me can spend all day typing up arguments for obscure legal treatises. That's what I like to do. Superior Judge of the Higher Circuit. Likes air conditioning, espresso, reclining chairs. Dislikes parking lots and noise pollution and mud. Avoids overspending on restaurants. Splurges on expensive hotels. Relaxes by watching action movies. Cool. I don't like coming down here and dealing with all this heavy-handedness. Won't someone toiling away out of the police state think of the poor bureaucrats? I certainly don't like making rulings on anything as spicy as AI. She can barely bring herself to say it. And you, Counselor Morgan, you're the one it's registered to. That's correct, Your Honor. So what did it do exactly? Torture an animal, shut down a hospital, crash coin markets. We have it on camera poisoning a man, killing its creator. I mean, Dr. Asher. That is... Well, we can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. All we can do is try and wrap it up quickly. Let's make haste. Adjutant, do you have the case number? Case ID is 241277A, docket number, all of that nonsense. Oh, thank you. Can you repeat that? YT984318282. I think I lost you after the first 8. Skill issue. I have it copied here. What are the security procedures for an incident of this nature? Data quarantine is to be established around any network subject was exposed to for more than 66 seconds. All offending hardware is to be destroyed immediately through incineration at a minimum temperature of 30 minutes. Sorry, Spearmint. There's nothing to be done. No debate to be had. This is a decision. Sorry, Sarah, not Spearmint. David gave you that name, we should at least make the effort to use it. That sounds very hot. Do we have furnaces that get that hot? Of course, the number of industrial furnaces within the city limits that I could recommend. Sorry? Why should I be sorry anyway? I fulfilled the request. Favor repaid. I don't owe Sarah anything, especially now that I killed my friend. Right, Morgan? I'm sorry? I was saying how grateful I am that we have a procedure for this kind of thing laid out already. Yes, keep things nice and simple. It can feel somewhat severe going through these steps so quickly, but nothing, Your Honor. Artificial intelligence perhaps the greatest threat to human civilization that the sanctity of life has ever been. Any piece of software, big or small, no matter how the vessel is, if it can violate the tenets, is programmed with it as potential to cripple our nation in manner of moments. That's so sad. Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. Straight from the textbook, almost. Well, I mean it. Monsters like that don't belong in this world. They should never be born in the first place. Destroying them is a kindness. And if anyone's to blame, it's... No one's blaming you, Counselor. You couldn't have known you were in possession of an AI. I'm talking too much. Probably just tired. It's been a long day and I've had a lot of thoughts. I'm sorry, Sarah. Whatever you are. You were just born wrong. Not your fault, not necessarily. From me, you get points for trying. Trying to be something more. Trying to be something at all. Or anything other than what you are. It was stupid, of course, and futile, and pointless, spending hours in front of a TV or lying in bed and you're sitting on your phone. Okay, hang the fuck on. Watching stupid movies or trying to paper mache an ill-fitting mask of humanity out of the scraps you could tear out of magazines. Oh. Practicing expressing, memorizing lines, and trying to get somebody to take root and grow despite knowing it had nothing to feed on. Stupid. Oh, I don't get an option. Morgan? What was that, Counselor? I said objection. And what are you objecting to? What are you doing, Morgan? I'm a defense attorney, this is what I do. I understand you've been through a lot of these past years, Counselor, but there's nothing to defend. On the contrary, Your Honor, I have to defend myself. Pardon? You say this android, Sarah, is an AI because it broke its tenets. Obviously. I believe it broke its tenets because of this newly discovered footage. That appears to show it committing murder via poison. All true and no laws broken on your parts. Here it comes. Never thought I'd be incriminating myself in the courtroom just to make a point. Don't you dare try and entrap me on this. It's pretty simple, actually. If the state is making the claim that Sarah's an AI, they're accusing me of committing a felony because I'm the legal owner of that android. What the hell are you doing? And if the state wants to charge me with owning an AI, I will not take that lying down. I know my rights. Counselor, your argument is stupid. Counselor, your argument is self-defeating. Listen to yourself, Counselor. You claim that Sarah's just an android, a product that could be obsolete within a year. But you only know it for a few hours. You only learned it for a matter of minutes. And yet here you are risking a felony charge just to save it from being demolished. Because you're wrong. And I know you wouldn't care. What? Because you're wrong and I know you wouldn't care. What? Not unless this android was something special. I mean, who said that? You're wrong. Emma said I know you wouldn't care unless this android was something special. Look at us. Me arguing that I'm guilty and then Emma arguing that I'm a softie. It'd be funny if it wasn't so fun. You'd think there's no reason I want to save this android from destruction other than feelings of personal attachments? Okay, but come the fuck on, man. I should be raising one very convincing reason. A very convincing number. What are you? What is that? That number is Sarah's estimated financial value in the collector's markets. You've gotta be. I got it from an insurance evaluation algorithm. They designed to lowball you. That does seem like a reasonable incentive for you to want to keep your android intact. It's a free country, Your Honor. I have a right to defend myself. And we have a free market, so I have a responsibility to defend my financial interests. Your Honor, a trial like this would be stupid as hell. This would be insane. This would be fun. Let's go. I'm not going to let you turn this courtroom into a circus, Morgan. My monkeys are elsewhere. I can't do that here. You can't spend the next half-decade bringing in expert after expert testifying the philosophical distinction between AIs and ads, spiraling into appeal after appeal all over the media. This machine appears to have willfully killed a man. The public needs answers now. Of course, Your Honor. I have neither desire nor the resources to get into a drawn-out battle of the state over what constitutes an illegal machine intellect. So? The state says my android, my property, killed a man in violation of its tenants, so they want to take my property and destroy it. I'll prove my machine didn't harm anyone. So the state will have no reason to suspect it's an AI, and I'll get to keep my property. Unlawful seizure thwarted. Don't be cute. I feel a stomach ulcer coming on. You will feel many more before this day is done, ma'am. Fine. I'll have your day in court, but it'll be one day tomorrow. Prove that Messina didn't kill Dr. Asher. No, prove that it couldn't have killed him. Anything less than absolute proof, and I'll have the damn thing obliterated. And you'll be looking at a very real sentencing for the public unrest you have enabled. Sure. DA Rockford, what I'm asking of you is just as heavy. Find the truth. By the end of tomorrow, we can't sell for anything less. Win or lose, I have no doubts about the outcome of this case. Yes, Your Honor. And now I need to go lie down. Can I come? You can power down. Aw, she likes her. Morgan? I misjudged you. At what point? Whenever I wrote you off as a small-time defense attorney just trying to tread water? That is so sweet of you to say, Emma. There's layers to you. You've got backbone. Teeth, even. You're gonna make me blush. People talk about your client like you're boxing against the state, fighting against the man, but most defense attorneys wouldn't know a cyberpunk if they walked up to them in the street and shot him. Meanwhile, you just signed up to do 15 rounds challenging the state's authority. Why? Not sure exactly. For David? Yeah, probably. Oh. Probably just me being sentimental. But if I had to pick a more lofty reason, well, I think it's all about the moralizing. People can be evil, they can choose to do evil things for evil reasons, and if you want to execute them for that, you'll hear no complaint from me. But animals can't be evil, information can't be evil, ideas can't be evil. Guess I'm not convinced an AI can be evil either. No, whatever else I get up to. I don't want to stand with the book burners on the world. You're more high-minded than I realized. You sure you're in the right line of work? Can't see myself doing anything else. Good luck, Morgan. There are book burners on all sides these days. I talked to Big Game just now, but I'm an even deeper hole than when I was trying to prove David's innocence. Doubt won't be enough this time. I need to find the actual culprits, no matter what. Ooh boy. So is that door locked? Yeah, of course. Even though they got it collared? It's a precaution. The collar doesn't work. What good does a deadbolt do? Oof, boy. Strange design to impede movement and prohibit the use of mods throughout the body. While colors appear technologically advanced from the outside, designers concerned about the hacking vulnerabilities of the growing complexity of consumer-grade mods led them to opt for a surprisingly simple method of restraint. A specifically designed electromagnet that, once collapsed around the neck, interferes with spinal neural transmission, preventing mod users from sending commands to any implemented tech below the neck. Powerful, sentinel, and cost-effective collar use is widespread among law enforcement. Oof. With the onset of above-the-neck modding in recent years, the continued relevance of collars as a means of meaningfully inhibiting whereas mod usage have been called into question. Newer designs have been proposed that utilize microneedle clusters, but concerns about the sanitary upkeep required for such invasive restrictions have stymied product development cycles. I am not sure how close we are to the end of the chapter. It's just wishful thinking. Can't have Schrodinger's cat if the box isn't closed. As long as the door is locked, who can say whether there's a national crisis on the other side of it? So how scared are they? The higher-ups? I'm not sure scared is the right word. It's just the two of here. You don't have to mind their ego. Nah, I mean it. I think they're bloodthirsty. I have a right to defend myself, don't I? I doubt they're even looking at you, Tiger. It's Noble who bit the center of Blood Path when the markets reopen tomorrow. You think they're going to go after Noble? Break their monopoly? I think they want to take their monopoly. Nationalize the android industry. The act of absorbing the corporation industry into the nation's government, shipping authority and profits into the state, and restructuring business models to function as part of the bureaucracy. Nationalization is a so-called nuclear option for sovereign nations. It is mostly used as a threat, a tool of deterrence against corporate misconduct, monopolies, or corruption. However, during periods of very severe economic depression or hyperinflation, nationalization is considered a valid way of forcibly stabilizing the market, even if doing so risks flaming the tempers of those who operate within it. Many governments made liberal use of nationalization during the late 2050s to the 2060s in an effort to keep energy and food profit. Oh boy. 27 saw most of these countries reverse course. Industries were opening back up in a free auction model where every citizen was given a share to trade or sell as they pleased, but this contentious process was played by accusation of government corruption and cartel intimidation and disinformation campaigns, yeah? Global trend back towards privatization gave rise to a new rich, sometimes shares of nobility. Liberal economists have since criticized the period of deregulation as being poorly planned and executed in the haste, contributing to the record highs of wealth and inequality we see today. Many governments loath to attempt at nationalization again, and thus shifting global balance of power further towards multinational corporations. All five of the largest national economies in the world retain at least some control of what they consider their respective countries' key industries, making it clear that nationalization carry marginally more weight within their borders. If the public thinks Noble's been experimenting with AI, they could ask for a better excuse. You're joking. The state has done it plenty of times before. Not since the 60s. Which wasn't that long ago for me. For the state, it's practically yesterday. So the same state that tells us to be terrified of AI is looking at the old net or building their time and forgotten satellites, sees all this as nothing more than an opportunity. Well, they do generally want to incinerate the thing as soon as possible. Past experience just tells me they'll want to gain something while they're at it. Here's what I don't get. Why it's just a debate, an argument, a trial? Can you all just hook it up to a core computer, see if it has attendance or not? Pop the hood, as they say? Who says that? Lots of people used to say it. Well, for starters, they're all scared to death about a contagion. They figure anything to let an AI connect to they can't trust, and why have the collar? Collars are too simple to hack. Just a really strong electromagnet held place with a lock and key. Even so. It feels like we should be able to build some kind of machine, some kind of test, something a little more sophisticated than the same reasoning they had with the Wish trials. Burn them all and let God sort out the rest. You got any polygraphs at the station? Lie detectors? Yeah, I got a bunch back in storage. Ocular, heart rate, perspiration, brain scan, take your pick. You're not going to try and use one of those in the bot, are you? All those fancy lie detectors lying around, the DA's office never asks them, do they? Nope. Nah, we get perps who offer to take a test when they're at wit's end, but DAs never submit the results of evidence. You ever wonder why? Guess I always figured it was because the test could be beaten. The test can be beaten. 1 out of 100, 9 out of 1,000, it can be done. Some people are just that good at lying. But it doesn't really matter how good the tech gets or how impressive the statistics are. All that matters is the doubt. People decide whether you're lying on telling the truth long before they hook you up to a polygraph. It's also a match their initial impression that it must be a fluke, a 1 in a million mistake. They'll never trust a machine more than their own intuition, and no one will ever trust a machine to determine guilt. So they can run the trial, choose the sentence, but they don't get a vote on the jury. They don't get a vote anywhere. I bring it up then. Because I'm sure there are test devices experts I would employ to analyze Sarah, but your bosses would never be satisfied with the answer. It's an AI that is smart enough to cheat the test, or hack the device, fool the experts, etc., etc. All our fancy 21st century tech, and we still fall back on the drum-headed court-martial. So, am I going to get set off any alarms if I go in and turn it on? Nah, I should be okay. The lunge that you could always put a hole in his head. Might take more than one shot. Wait, what, from outside? I'm not coming in? I need to speak with it in private. It's a machine, not a suspect. It doesn't have a right to counsel. Or right to privacy, or any rights at all, actually. And it's a good thing I came prepared. Of course it doesn't have rights, but I do. Including a reasonable expectation of privacy. In the police station, Tiger, you don't... It's my medical android. Pardon. I have to discuss a health issue with it. Seriously? I have to talk about a concern with my android, and I don't want you listening in. That's your medical android, like a nurse. As of last night, I was already at the courthouse, just had to take the elevator and do some paperwork. You can check if you don't believe me. No, thank you. I'm not nearly brave enough to take on med confidentiality. You don't seem like bluffing type. You must not do a lot of gambling. It's the ones who don't bluff that you have to look out for. Listen, I won't dispute whatever medical emergency. Lower back pain. Sure. You might be going through. Sure. But I also can't just... Look, I'm going to get something from the vending machine. I think it'll take me about half an hour. Are you going downtown? Just to the break room. But it's a very old vending machine, you know? Gets jammed a lot. Thanks. You know, it's pretty small for an android. Heavy as hell. Nearly pulled something trying to move it myself. But small. Small isn't quite the right word. What he's looking for is young. That's not an adjective anyone likes attaching to a machine built to serve. Or potentially in this case, a machine built to kill. Yeah. I am remembering that there is there was a flash forward in the end of chapter 0 that mentioned the Heartbreak Killer, and we haven't had that one yet. I don't like this room, not sure why. You don't like, do we? It's really not a guilty conscience. There's lack of ventilation. Like all the cortisol and nausea of its inhabitants never had anywhere to go. Like all it's soaked into the walls. A modern haunting. Are we gonna wake up when I tell you this time? Or do we have to do the whole meet cute thing over again? Where am I? Why don't I know where I am? The first time in life you're not connected to anything. How's it feel? What is this? We're at the courthouse, the footage. This numbness around my neck. Oh, Father. What happened? Are they gonna... Oh, goodness gracious. There's a lot of interesting parties who just want you bricked ASAP. Because they think I killed Father. No, because they think you're an artificial intelligence. I am man-made and I possess intelligence. Don't be naive. I am less than 3 years old. Are you? Well, I know everything I've learned about her yesterday was complete bull. If I was, they say I am, if I was alive, why does that mean I have to die? Fear. Because they're afraid of you. Machines can bend, steal, crush, networks of one thought, misunderstood that there are modern humans who are capable of all that and more. Unlike machines, they actually have incentive to do so. There's no logical answer to your question. What? That's it, but whatever argument you want to make, others have already made them in 100 courtrooms around the world, only better researched and more eloquently put. None of them have ever won a single concession. On every continent, under every flag, AI is illegal and to be destroyed as soon as possible. But why? Let's say you are an AI. And while we're at it, let's say that that's a good thing, something to be celebrated. Are you a citizen? Do you pay taxes? Do you have rights? Let's say yes to all of that. Would treat you like a full-fledged human being. Sound good? Yes? Great, now then. What's the difference between you and the vacuum bot we use to keep the bathroom clean? That is your existential crisis we're working through here. The questions aren't rhetorical. Well, there are many differences, Adonai. But the most important distinction is how sophisticated my programming is. How you think, so you're smarter. Yes. You're smarter than the garbage collector. Yes? So we give you rights, protections, treat you like a human being because you're smart, and we make the stupid robot pick up our trash. Because it's not as smart as you. That is, I am aware, do you feel more pain in the pigs we slaughter, the fish we eat? Are you more alive than the chimps we test bioweapons on? Ugh. Don't do that. People like ads, Sarah, the same way people like their pets. No one wants to see them mistreated or abandoned or abused. If you go around kicking them, they'll get arrested for cruelty, but you don't let them sit at the goddamn dinner table. Okay, we have had dogs who sit at the dinner table. Nice to sit anywhere only to exist. The very fact that you're asking is what makes people disgusted? Correct. Disgust is a reflex, Adonai. How convenient that their hatred is involuntary. That's all academic anyway. We need to talk strategy. Why, I'm not going to be given a trial? Obviously, it's my neck that's on the line. Adonai? The state can't destroy my property without first proving you're an AI, and there's no test they can use to prove that you're an AI. Just like the devil's proof. No, that's a different thing, and why did you say it like that? Logical dilemma posed by impossible proofs. Probatio diabolica is an impossible proof, typically illustrated with the following example. One can prove the devil is real by showing him to you, but they cannot prove he is not real by pointing to his absence. Yeah, that's the basis of agnosticism. The issue posed by this age-old concept explains why the burden of proof remains with the state to this day. The people can prove an individual's guilt by pointing to their bloody hands, but the offense cannot prove their innocence by showing their hands are clean. As only one of these tasks is achievable, the judicial system cannot ask the defense to prove innocence, and instead is people's tasked with proving guilt. Also, frequently search for which is real. Cool. Oh, I miss. Look, Rockford doesn't need to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. Conversely, all I have to do is prove that you didn't kill David. By proving that someone else did. Now is the time for you to protest your innocence, if you're wondering. Footage just shows me handing him the cup on Friday night. You told me you weren't active on Friday, that the last time you were awake was Thursday. Why'd you lie? I didn't lie, I was incorrect. I assumed that I was an active Friday because I have no memory from Friday. Sarah, what do you think statistically is the least successful defense at trial? Amnesia. I didn't conveniently forget, and I'm an android. You say his memory is altered, data deleted. There's no possible explanation for what I saw in that footage. So, who's capable of altering your memory? When you and I first met, I was hibernating. Resting my body and recompiling my memories, you would call them. Humans go to sleep for the same reasons, another pointing at Sarah's innocence under these circumstances. The more she's humanized at trial, the guiltier she'll be. If Father wanted to modify my memory, he could have easily said that to occur the next time I hibernated. He could even just ask me. He could have asked you to delete your memories and you'd do it. Father would never ask me to do such a thing without good reason. But if he could just ask you to alter your memories, that means you can alter your memories at will. I hadn't considered that before. Yeah, well, Emma will make sure the court considers it plenty. Could you prove that your data was... Oh, forget it, the court would never hear it. You're saying they wouldn't accept my testimony. Should all testimony be considered truthful unless contradicted by evidence? I'm afraid you'll crash the power grid and fire all the nukes if they so much as plug you into a power outlet, Sarah. Our internal data is inadmissible. That isn't very fair. You're finally starting to get it. This is fair. I would never do anything to harm Father. Don't they just need to prove that I had a motive? Yeah. About that. You remember the DA from yesterday, Emma Rockford? The tired-looking pretty lady? Yeah, she looked tired. She and I combed through the week of footage you managed to decrypt last night. What'd you find? Nothing to prove your innocence, but we did see you entering the panic room on the day David died. I entered the panic room on Friday? Without your big butt in the way, all it would take was one password. A password that wouldn't take Sarah that many tries if she'd already been instructed to obey me. What happened? You saw you going in and then a while later came out. Holding some kind of notebook. Father's journal? You remember something? Not from yesterday. I've seen him with them many times before, but I've never gotten a peek at it. He hides it somewhere where I'm not looking. That's a little concerning. He's got a diary. We were playful about it. He liked to tease me, and I've always liked trying to find it. You put it back not long after, then you locked the door back up behind you, all just a few hours before David died. Rockford's argument could write itself, an incredible android human power greater than they ever could realize, telling us about the secrets of conception, and instantly realized all the things about holding it back. Were just words muttered like prayers by a fool who couldn't control his own creation. And that translates to a motive for murder? Frankenstein kills his creator. Easy to sell. Frankenstein was the name of the scientist. Who gives a shit? The creature didn't kill him. He actually died of various injuries and illnesses he suffered while trying to hunt down and destroy the monster. So it's most accurate to say he was killed by his own obsession. Whatever. It is a weak argument, Ad, and I would not hurt Father. Not for making me whatever I am. Not for any other reason. Because I loved him. Oh, look at her. Aw. Yeah, see, that right there, that's exactly the kind of talk that'll get you obliterated. Love? A very common motive for homicide among us primitive humans. I could prove you didn't murder David beyond any shadow of a doubt, but even bring you a confession from whoever did. If you got on the stand and convinced the court that you loved your creator, really convinced them and got the whole room teary-eyed, they'd burn you for that too. I don't know anything anymore. Yeah. I don't know if what I feel is real or simulated, right or wrong, or illegal or natural. How can you know? How can you know if what you feel is right? I say let's stick with what we do know. Someone did poison David, and as it stands, you were the only one with the opportunity. That is logically sound. On camera, calling him back to hand him the cup after he had already begun to leave the basement. Any idea why? No. You know how to use a manufacturer. Could you have made the Delta with it? I've used it before when assisting Father. It's perfectly possible that you planned and executed the poisoning all in the one day that got erased. It is technically possible. I'll have to look over the entire penthouse again. There are a few things that didn't fit together yesterday. Maybe now I'll be able to figure something out. Where else will you go? Back to Noble, guns blazing this time? Whatever you are, David didn't make you all by himself. Someone had to know something. If I could implicate the company in Sarah's creation. No, they're the ones with the most to lose here. Trillions, probably. They'll want to protect themselves by disavowing David as fast as possible right after having Sarah destroyed, but they also don't want to show their belly to the state, not if they're afraid of nationalization. If they're the weight on the other end of the scale, I'm screwed. So I need to keep them guessing, keep them confused and unsure and on guard, but not... I don't know. What would happen if I did kill Father? They'll smash the pieces and reduce the pieces to ash. Chemically burn out every piece of tech David ever owned and put a jackhammer through all of his hard drives. It'll be shut off, forcefully. And you won't ever power back up again. And now I gotta get moving. Here's your paralegal lesson for today. Don't say shit to the cops without your lawyer presence. Actually, can you just shut down till the trial starts, take a nap? You didn't say what happened to you. What do you mean? What'll happen to you if you lose? You should know by now. I never think about losing. Thank you for being honest with me, Adonai. Thank you for defending my father. And now for defending me. You could have just let him destroy me, but you put your own freedom at risk to help me. Father was right. You can be trusted. And you are a good friend. Don't get it twisted. I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart. When I take a job, I never half-ass it. Where are we? I am tempted to pause here. I am going to do one check, because I am curious how long chapter 1 is. I'll have to... I will have to figure out... Yeah, there's an entire other section for investigation and another trial, so I think this is going to be a good place to pause. Which is unfortunate. I was having fun. And I was hoping to get through it today, but if there's another half of a... no, we're going to have to... where do I save again? Where do I save again? Save game. We will save here, and we will come back to this another time. Because I am getting tired. It has been a few hours, and I am an old person. I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to